Welcome to PCMC, Pop Culture Man Children. I'm your host, Mike Bongiorno. Welcome into episode 400. I can't believe it. Holy moly. We're at 400. We have such a special episode for you. This episode is jam-packed. It is a long one. You're going to get many car rides out of this episode. Our topic today is Oz, the magical land of Oz. I sit down with all your favorite contributors at PCMC. Me and Anthony discuss the little-known L. Frank Baum biopic, The Dreamer of Oz. Me and Janine Gagliardi talk about Oz, the Great and Powerful. Me and Jen Luttrell talk about Wicked. Me and Nadia Cater discuss The Wiz. And then we have a nice roundtable discussion with me, Anthony, Jen, Janine, and we discussed the 1939 classic, The Wizard of Oz. We picked Oz for a theme because we wanted 400 to be special, and what's a more foundational text in pop culture than The Wizard of Oz? It's been parodied, it's been pastiched, it's been remade, rebooted, retooled. The magical land of Oz is a playground that so many artists and filmmakers and everybody have worked in. And we thought, let's dive into it for this special occasion. You heard just now the Wizard of Oz-ified version of the PCMC theme by Bill Gagliardi. He does all our themes, and he deserves a shout-out. If you've been with us the whole 400 episodes, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, and I'll speak for everyone else, thank you so much for being here. This is a labor of love for us. We all have day jobs. We all have things to do, but we do this because it's fun. And we make our favorite show, so we hope that other people like our favorite show too. And if it's your first episode, where have you been? What the fuck's wrong with you? Let's get into the show. Oz the Great and Powerful.
That's right.
From the year of our wizard, 2013, starring
Pre-Wicked, was that the
pre-Wicked
most
film,
recent film?
But pre-Wicked, is that the most recent film?
Yeah,
Yes,
I think so.
but I think it's absurd that this movie exists in a world where Wicked exists.
Yeah,
Because it does similar things that Wicked does in much worse ways.
Agreed. Agreed. And also, the origins of this is that the screenwriter, Mitchell Kapner, said that he always felt like there were no male fairy tales. And there's always, there's all female-led fairy tale stories. But, what about the story of the wizard? That's a great male fairy tale that we could tell. I'm like, right, there's no stories about men.
Off on a great foot.
There's not enough stories about men out there, guys.
It's so funny because I made a note of like, do Oz stories need female protagonists? Because this one is not working. So
Well, it doesn't really work at all until the women show up.
Yes, I guess we should like start with our feelings.
Okay.
I saw it for the first time for this recording.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, I did not like it. Mm-hmm. Goodbye. Thanks, everybody. There are a few things in it that I actually really liked.
Yeah, I think there's some things that work.
But for the most part, this does not work. But I think there's some small changes that could be made, like not James Franco. I kept thinking, what if this were Hugh Jackman instead of James Franco? Oh my God,
that would be
this
fantastic.
Would be a Christmas
wow.
miracle.
This would be a tent pole of the
movie
studio.
Right, because the character of the wizard, as written, is very unlikable, and it's hard to root for him. It's not like, I've got a fun ruse going on. It's more like I'm a scumbag. And James Franco, maybe because we know that he himself is kind of a scumbag.
Right. So you never like him in this whole film?
No.
No, I'm not asking you. I'm just saying, like, as an audience member, both the character and the actor playing them, you're like, this guy
There's supposed to be an arc,
greasy.
but it doesn't really get there for me.
No.
But for Hugh Jackman, I think his charm would make it work.
I agree. I think he was my top note. Let's see. Oh no, it's my second note is James Franco has zero charisma.
Yes.
I've always thought he was bad. Like I've genuinely never liked a project he's been in.
Yeah. Not a single project he's ever done.
No. I mean, I like the Spider-Man movies, but it has nothing to do with him.
I liked some of the comedies he did. Like I liked Pineapple Express.
Oh, I liked Pineapple Express.
Some of
That's
that
true.
stuff.
I did like that one.
But his he still has a very and I don't know if he's from the East Coast or West Coast, but he's got to me like a very surfer dude accent, and trying to
I think
be
that's why he
the
works
wizard
in
doesn't work.
Yeah. He's very miscast in this.
Wildly. He's not the only one.
No, I agree.
There's someone else who's even more miscast.
Yes.
But then there's someone who's a brilliantly cast.
Agreed. So, okay, I'm going to say...
We're speaking telepathically.
We are right now. Mila Kunis was horribly miscast.
Horribly.
Rachel Weisz was incredible. I thought she was...
That's not who I was thinking about, but I like her.
Oh, do you like Michelle Williams?
Michelle Williams
I thought she was a
Glinda
great Glinda, yeah.
Incredible.
Actually, I disagree. I don't think she
Wow.
was incredible.
Wow.
I like Michelle Williams, but I felt like she was doing this extremely soft-spoken thing that... Sometimes I had the volume all the way up and I could not hear her dialogue. Where I could hear the other characters.
We've documented your hearing problems.
My hearing is perfect. I have a clean bill of hearing health now. But where she'd be in the scene with James Franco and I could hear him fine and I couldn't hear her. Like she'd be kind of talking under her teeth a little bit. I don't know.
I disagree.
She's doing a lot of tiny mouth acting.
She's doing something wildly different from what Ariana Grande does, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like when I saw her, I felt like that could be the Glinda that I know from the original 1939 movie. She's powerful but poised. Mm-hmm. She's pretty. She's got I was like that's Glinda. I thought she was the best cast in the movie.
Oh, okay. I thought
Weisz.
Rachel Weisz was the best.
I thought she was
cast.
great too.
I thought she was great.
Yeah, until she turns into a Deadite, I was fine with her.
Oh well, we should say Sam Raimi directed this.
Sam Raimi of Spider-Man and the Evil Dead franchise.
That's right. And don't worry, Bruce Campbell is in it.
Oh, don't you worry a little. He's a Winky.
That's right. I wrote here just some more notes about James Franco. He always looks sweaty and sick.
Yeah.
He looks like he's seen an iPhone.
That's right. He does look like he's seen an iPhone.
He looks too modern.
Yeah. I was just before we got together today.
But Zach Braff, I loved in it.
His character Finley is the only funny part.
He's very cute
because there's a lot of jokes that do not work, but Finley's genuinely funny.
He's funny. I also like Joey King as the China doll.
The second thing about this movie that I love. The China doll is the best part of this movie. It looks the best.
It looks so good.
It's the funniest.
It's the one effect that really held up. Yeah, it looks great.
It's funny. It's interesting. It's an original L. Frank Baum idea that's never been put to film before. She's maybe the best part.
Yeah.
Her and Glinda for me and Finley. But all right, let's talk about Mila Kunis.
Oh, Mila Kunis. I don't know that she I've never seen Black Swan. So I don't know. I know that people like her in that film, that she's good in it. I've really only seen her from that 70s show or her voice acting in Family Guy. I know you guys like Ted.
Yes. Huge Ted fans.
Is she? I don't know if she's good in that, but basically she is I mean, the character as written is not doing her any favors.
The writing in general is not great on this film.
So I do feel like she's working with a very limited palette. But at the same time, I feel like at a certain point, she just decided that screaming was acting.
Right,
and then she was just going to scream.
The turn doesn't work.
Yeah.
She's fine in the beginning as, I'm sweet and he's going to, charm me or whatever. I'm going to fall in love with him. She's fine that. But then when she turns into Green Wicked Witch.
Right.
First of all, the makeup's terrible because they're trying to make her, sexy and green. They were she looks super crazy to look at.
She looks crazy. And
just she wore the mask from Jim Carrey's The Mask.
I thought for sure, that must have, I don't even know if people can even do this, but I was like, that looks not real to me. That doesn't look like practical makeup at all. But it was. And Greg Nicotero, who is now a director, I think, but he was the makeup guy for Walking Dead.
And a lot of things.
Did the makeup, and he said she was in the chair 4 hours to put it on. I'm like, how?
That's
why?
4 hours
that looks like
of
you stuck it on
waste.
from Party City. Also,
it doesn't have any of the I was just watching the original. Like, she's actually more than green. There's like yellows and browns and dark around her eyes, but she's just like a big round green,
big round head.
Emoji face.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. But that was one of the things they had difficulty with the copyright because the color green that the witch is copywritten.
Fuck off.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. So they had to get a shade that was close enough that it would be recognizable as like a witch green, but not the same. And they had to get it like approved through legal, like we could use this color. So they called it, what's her name? Theodora. They called it Theostine, like Frankenstein, like Theostine, because it was like based on a Frankenstein color, but then they tried to like make it witchy. It seemed a little brighter
to me, but
I would never notice that it was different.
I mean, I know that they don't have ruby slippers. They don't have slippers at all.
No.
They don't mention slippers at all. And I don't think they say Munchkin. Do they say Munchkin ever?
Oh, maybe not. Oh, no, I think they do.
Do they?
They have a Yellow Brick Road, but they never refer to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. So this film was made in 2013. So this is the end of that 3D time. And this movie was designed and filmed in 3D.
Yeah.
And it's got some of that going on.
It's
got a lot
era,
of like pushing
like
things
Alice
in your
in
face.
Wonderland, like all these movies that just look terrible now because they were just green screen. Like everyone's green screen.
So this is what I was thinking. I love the original Wizard of Oz because I like the practical fakeness. I like that it looks like the plants are plastic.
That the backgrounds are painted.
Yeah, I like that the Munchkin land looks like something out of Disney World. So there's fakeness there, but then in this film, it's all CGI fakeness. It's all green screen fakeness. And I'm like, is it because of when I'm living? Like in 20 years, will I look at this and be charmed by its green screen fakeness? Or is it just a completely different effect?
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if there'll ever be a nostalgia for that. Like that green screen look. Like I can't imagine that being something we look back on fondly. But
it's
like
so flattening.
It's very flattening.
That's the problem.
It really flattens everything.
Like the fakeness in the original Wizard of Oz. Well, I shouldn't say original because there was many before 1939. But the 1939 classic, like it still seems big. It seems like in a big studio lot. Like this looks like it's made like on an iPhone. It's also flat.
Yeah.
That being said, there are some visuals that I really like. I love the like graveyard that Glinda's in when we first meet her, but I think that's practical. A lot of that.
That looks like a set.
Smoke and stuff. I like the little Chinatown.
The China Lounge. Oh yeah, Chinatown it's called. Yeah.
And I like some of the plants and stuff because I feel like they tried to emulate the Technicolor vibrance of the 39 movie.
I also really like how he defeats the witches because it feels like, okay, that is sort of like, I like that as a storytelling device on how did the wizard roll in here with no magic whatsoever and conquer this land.
Yeah.
And like doing it with like projectors and using like practical effects to overcome their magic. Like when he finds out that, they've never heard of fireworks, he's like, well, I'm going to use this to my advantage and use fireworks against them. Like I like that stuff. I like the fight at the end is very good.
And the tinkerers and stuff. I like that. What do you think about the black and white small aspect ratio
at the beginning?
Opening? Something about it, I get it, right? But part of it also feels like it goes on too long.
It does go on too long.
And it's crazy obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, the aspect ratio thing is almost a little annoying because it's like, this isn't even what we did in the original film. I felt like it got
smaller before we got bigger again.
Yeah.
I was like, did it shrink? Yeah. And I watched it with the kids. They were like, is this an old movie? And I was like, no, it's not an old movie. But they're like, but it looks old. And they were like,
oh, that's old.
That's old for them. But they're, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're literally a child that has like zero knowledge about like old films and things that are made to look old, like it'll get you like, oh, this might be old. No.
Right.
But I was telling them like, yeah, The Wizard of Oz is black and white in the beginning, but they haven't seen it now in like
but it's
a
also
couple of years, which is like a lifetime for them, so they don't remember it at all.
But it's famously sepia tone.
That's right, and not black and white, and that is black and white.
Millimeter. Like,
it's
what
not
are we
super
doing?
Small, like a silent film would be.
Right. And also, like,
But also in that sequence of black and white, when he takes off in the balloon, then it starts being like Sam Raimi camera angles.
So CGI. Yeah.
And like when he's in the basket and things are like flying through the basket and it's like very Evil Dead at that moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of
like
Evil
we're combining a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, and they do the thing that the 39 movie does where some of the people that he meets later on in Oz are people from his real life.
Right.
But in the 39 movie, there's a logic to that. Where in this, it doesn't really make any sense at all.
Right, because in 39, it's heavily implied that it's a dream.
Right.
But in the books, apparently, and I don't know.
And she's missing home, so she would be missing the faces that she's used to.
Right.
But like James Franco has an assistant played by Zach Braff that he treats like shit. He ends up being the flying monkey that hangs out with him.
The girl in the wheelchair who comes to the magic show
she's
is
the China girl
doll. Yeah. Glinda is the big
Glinda
one.
is like a girlfriend
yeah.
that he treated like shit.
Yeah.
So it's not even like she's someone he would be missing.
Right. She comes to visit him because he's coming through town.
Yeah.
I guess maybe he's from that town. I don't know.
He's a scumbag.
Yeah.
But
he seems to, of all, because that's something that we find out from like moment one. He's a womanizer. He's got all these girlfriends, and he gives them all a music box.
Yeah.
Like that's his thing. Is that he gives them a music box from his grandmother. And like you see, like there's a strong man at the circus who's like, I'm gonna kill him. Like while he's wooing Michelle Williams, like someone else is coming because he like slept with his girlfriend or something. The thing about Michelle Williams in the black and white portion, her name is Annie, and she says, I'm getting engaged to John Gale.
Yeah.
And she's wearing gingham.
So she would be...
So it's like, it's Dorothy's mother.
Who, I guess, dies in some tragic way.
Right. And I guess John does too, because she doesn't seem to have parents.
Right.
And and then I was reading in one of the books, Dorothy's parents are named as John and Anne.
Oh, okay.
So it's like that is
also
parents.
well the name that he gives when he tells Theodora, like, my name is Oscar blah blah blah, blah. He has a bunch of things, that's from the book too, or one of the books. So there's weird fidelity there.
Yeah.
But then also not. It's one of these things that we've seen things like this before. It's probably going to come up when we talk about the new Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein. When you're trying to be faithful to two things at once. You're trying to be faithful to books, but then also an adaptation that's widely popular.
Right.
And I feel like that's a hard line that's a thin line to walk. I think Wicked does it really well. Wicked makes things look the way you would expect them to look, but also has fidelity to the world of the books, even though it's its own different story. There were some cool characters. I like the river fairies. Those were cool.
Oh yeah, they look like axolotls.
I'm sorry, say what?
Oh, sorry, you don't have a 7-year-old. Yeah, axolotls are the big thing. They're big and huge.
You've been telling me about this, right?
Everybody loves axolotls.
Jen's here.
Jen is here. Actually, Jen's always here.
Oh yeah, Jen is always here.
She's always in the background. An axolotl is this thing.
Yes.
So kids are absolutely crazy about axolotls.
Is it TikTok that did it? Who did it?
I'm not sure. They're just like branded. Like they got a PR rep, and they just they're
having a
like
moment.
Squishmallows and their toys, and people love axolotls. Like our friend had an axolotl birthday party. Oh, did you see like right in the opening shot? It says Baum Brothers Circus.
Yes, that was
cute.
Cool.
Some people who were supposed to be cast as the wizard that turned it down were Robert Downey Jr.
Could have been good, although we've also seen him as Dr. Dolittle. That was terrible. We walked out on that.
Didn't love that. And Johnny Depp.
Fuck off.
I know.
No, but
Hugh Jackman's inspired casting.
You needed someone with some charm and some star appeal. And as much as a big star Franco was, like he's I don't know, he always felt like a scrappy theater kid. I don't know, like you need someone to be gregarious in a way.
A showman. He doesn't
that.
seem like a showman.
Right. I think
he seems unwilling to put on a show.
Whoever, it should be the character, and this should be in the writing as well. The character should be inspired by Professor Marvel from the 39 movie, right?
Who's very sweet and kindly.
Right, but it's okay that he's a con artist, right? He cons her into going back home.
Right.
So it's like he uses his con powers for good. He's genuinely a nice person.
Yeah.
Whereas he just seems to like want to con people for self gain.
Yeah.
Like there's a part where she's like, "You're a good person." And he's like, "I don't want to be a good person. I want to be a great person."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't know what we're getting at here.
Yeah. Why does Oz have so much money? Do we know that?
Yeah, why is he super rich?
There's so much treasure, like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
In Oz,
and he wants it.
And he wants it, and they're like, well, you can be king, and this is all your treasure. So naturally,
yeah, well, yeah, okay.
That's a weird part of it.
That
I
he's a
don't
king
know
well?
that's like that he would be the king.
But why do we need a fake king?
But Glinda's dad was the king.
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
I don't know.
Why does Finley look like a flying monkey from the 1939 film, but this film does have flying monkeys, but they look like scary...
They're like baboons.
Baboons.
Yeah.
With like leathery kind of wings. So who's a flying monkey?
And
Are
you
there
never
different
see
breeds?
another flying
Yes.
monkey. So it's not like, oh, there's good flying monkeys and bad flying monkeys, or like really aggressive flying monkey. Like, you know, like dogs and wolves, right? Like some of them are, you could be fine to be around and others will attack you. Like, I don't know. They never get into that or what happened there. Or maybe Finley's like the last one and we
But
don't
in
like all
prequel
of them
logic, how do they like it should end with I don't know.
Right, like there should be a flying monkey that's good.
Like, why does he look like a flying monkey from the original? Unless, like, he was, and then they changed the design of the villainous monkeys, and they were like, well, we don't want to make him look scary, so let's just make it not make sense.
Yeah, I don't get why why not make him a different creature? It's not like his flying really comes into play, except when they jump off the cliff, and he's like, I can fly. Like, oh, okay. But he's in the bubble anyway. I do like that sequence.
Yes,
he's like, it's
cool.
so fast, I can't stop it.
Do you see at one point we see a field and you see horses of different colors?
I didn't notice.
And they're not one steady color. They look like kind of kaleidoscopic.
Okay. I like that.
That was fun.
It all seems very small in scale too. Like the poppy fields being right outside of Emerald City. They seem like they're right out, like the front lawn of the Emerald City.
Yeah. And so
what's with the apple? That
I know that's so Snow White.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about what's her name? Evadora?
Evanora is Rachel Weisz, and she's like the royal vizier, basically, right? Like she's like the
very different from like what Wicked does, where that character is like this girl with a disability, and then like her heart gets broke. Like in this, she's like
Madame
evil.
Morrible. She's
Yes.
more like Madame Morrible.
She's evil.
Yeah,
and the Wicked Witch of the West, who's in this named Theodora, not Elphaba, is like naive and good. So it's like a big difference.
She's got very like Born Yesterday. She seems to have just been waiting in the forest,
right?
Just like I don't know if she had a life.
Carmen
like she's
Sandiego.
just like hanging out. Yeah, dressed like in leather pants and a Carmen Sandiego hat and jacket, and like just hanging out in the forest. And she's like, I saw you fall from the sky, and then was like, you're gonna save us all and I'm gonna marry you, and like knowing nothing about this man. They hung out once. She seems to have no interests other than the wizard. Like I don't get the sense that she has a life outside of being in the forest waiting for a man. I don't know. You just never get that from her.
I don't get how she doesn't like she acts like Glinda's a bad guy, and she's like, oh, Glinda, you can't trust her.
Yeah,
but it's like how is her sister's propaganda like worked on her? You can't see that your sister's clearly evil.
Well, I just
and why
listened
is
to
she
your
young
companion
if the sister's
episode,
old?
and I was like, I feel like her intelligence was brought to like 40%. Like she just didn't seem to have any ability to, you know, extrapolate information or just come to any other conclusion other than what she was told by a person. So if you told her I'm the wizard, she's gonna believe it wholeheartedly until someone else comes and says, no, he tricked you. Yeah. And then that's it. That's her new world.
That's why it's really fascinating comparing it to Wicked, because it's like what Wicked chooses to expand, this film chooses to ignore. What this film chooses to expand, Wicked does in better ways. It's not just that they're doing similar things. It's that, like, you know, Wicked is all about, like, making Elphaba this very deep, vast character. Where in this, she's less interesting than she is in the original film. The fact that she's evil because
she's
he broke
barely
her
a
heart,
character.
kind of.
Yeah. No, he hung
And
out
how?
with her
He
for
didn't fuck
maybe.
her. He danced with her and then danced with someone else.
He danced with her by a campfire. They spent the night together. I don't know. I didn't really get the implication that they slept together, but if just spending the night next to each other is the implication that they slept together, then I guess. But then, she's totally on board. Like, she's a wizard zealot. Like, she's gonna marry him and they're gonna be together. And then,
because there's also a prophecy, right?
There's a prophecy,
and he's
we learn anything about the prophecy, like who made it or
no, but it kept making me think of Army of Darkness, of everyone believes in a prophecy and you're not actually the guy. Although at the end, I feel like he is supposed to be the guy.
Yeah, I
guess that's true for Army of Darkness as well. He is the guy at the end. Raimi, I like Raimi as a director. I like his sort of elastic, crazy fast camera, kind of like cartoony vibe. But some of it works for this film and some of it doesn't. The fight, the legitimate like wizards battle between Glinda and Evanora really sucks. It reminded me of like the not great looking parts of the original Spider-Man with Spider-Man versus Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Like it feels a lot of like walk around Disney characters talking to each other.
Oh, right. Because Glinda is like, hey, because they can fly without any assistance. That's all the witches can, which is weird to see.
Right. She uses the bubble wide
because they don't fly like Superman. They just like they're just like standing upright, flying around.
Yeah, they
and
kind
floating.
of float around.
It looks weird. It looks really weird. Early on when he meets Mila Kunis's character, he's like, "You're a witch, but you don't look like a witch. Like, where's your broom? You're not ugly."
Oh, right.
And she's like, "A broom? What would I use that for?" And then she grabs the broom. And she's like, "This is what you wanted, right?" Screaming.
She's so bad. I keep thinking.
And why does she have a thing around her neck? I hate that.
When she's being Wicked Witch of the West, I keep thinking of her as like Meg from Family Guy.
Oh yes, with the long nails, like scratching
she's
people.
Angry Meg. Like, what are you doing?
It was bad.
That whole scene where she's like revealed and she's like menacing the Munchkins. Oh, I guess they do say Munchkins. Or maybe I don't know. And she's like flying around. It's like, what's happening here?
I don't know.
What are we doing? I'm not scared or turned on or anything.
It's my two goals.
But no, because they try to make her like cute.
Yeah, she's still got like she's got a real like green eye makeup thing happening. Yeah. I don't know. It's not good. Yeah, but anyway, Glinda like flies with her body, and she's like, the bubble's just for show. It's like, what? Oh,
okay, why?
All right.
It's a lot of
like she doesn't want to. Like she drives a car. Like the bubble's her car. Like we could walk places, but we don't. We just go in our car. She goes in her bubble.
It's prequelitis. It's you're alone. Your name is Han Solo.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Yeah. That kind of prequelitis.
Yeah.
Like not everything is a thing that needs a thing. You don't need to. I never sat around and went, where'd she get her broom from?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
A wall that she saw leaning up against? Like, I don't know.
Glinda getting together with Oz is pointless. Why? What's the point of that?
I don't know. I guess they make out at the end behind the curtain.
The problem here is that this movie is not sweet at all. And Wizard of Oz is infinitely sweet and charming.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie, it kind of looks like a duck. Sounds like a duck, but it's not, because this movie's like, hey, I'm James Franco, blah, 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 fast cut. You know what I mean? Like, this movie is too cool for what it's trying to be, I feel like.
He feels like too cool for the movie.
But
like
the editing feels too cool for what, I don't know. It all needs to be a gentler hand, which I don't know if Raimi can do.
I don't know that he could do that. Yeah, I've never seen
charm.
It. Yeah, I know. He's trying to do these quick fix solutions to make it feel older, like the aspect ratio and the black and white.
Yeah.
But without ever making it really feel older by doing anything else.
Capturing any of like what makes the 39 movie charming.
Charming, yeah.
Like honestly, like I said with Hugh Jackman, this whole, even with its mistakes, this whole thing would hold together much better if you had a lead actor with charm and charisma that you could believe would come into a place and kind of like fool people.
Mm.
Like me and Jen saw him in Music Man.
Okay. Is that a similar story or?
Yeah, well, it's about a guy who's full of shit that comes into a place.
Okay. Well, that's sort of like Greatest Showman too. Like he's selling.
Right. He made P.T. Barnum a known shitty person into a character that's compelling and charming. Mm-hmm. So he can do it. Franco is like, come on. Like, what are you
No.
doing? He's also such a boy.
He
We need a man.
is a boy.
We need a man.
He does come off as a boy.
We need a man. All right. Well, thanks for making me watch this movie. I
remember liking it in I feel like I saw it and I thought like, oh, okay. And I remember having like fondness of it, but I never watched it again. So then I rewatched it and I watched it with the kids and they liked it. They thought some parts were scary.
Sure.
And some parts really are scary.
Yes.
And it's rated PG, but it really toes that line of not being rated PG. But yeah, it was just from the get-go with him. Yeah. He's the main weakness of the film.
He really is. It's fine. I mean, it's wrong. It's unfair to compare it to like the best movie ever. It's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine.
It's just fine.
Am I ever going to watch it again?
Probably
never.
Not.
Probably not.
Maybe if I'm on a flight and it's the only film they have. Even then, I'll probably just go to sleep.
Or walk out. Would this have
just walk right out.
Would this be better as a musical?
Not with him.
Also, there's a joke in it making fun of the very concept of musicals. Oh. The Munchkins begin to sing, and they all like do the weird 21st century like what was that kind of joke, and it's like, how could you be mocking Wizard of Oz while trying to be Wizard of Oz? Like, you can't be cooler than it is. All right. Well, that's it for this segment. Bye. The Dreamer of Oz. Never has a movie said so little and said it so inaccurately.
Yeah. And quite long. Not a short TV film.
No. I'm here with Anthony Bongiorno. We're still talking about Oz. This is still the 400th episode. Right now we're talking about Dreamer of Oz, which is a movie you probably haven't heard of. It is a made-for-TV biopic about L. Frank Baum, the writer,
the Dreamer of Oz.
The Dreamer of Oz, quite clearly.
The titular dreamer.
I think the second half is better than the first half. The first half feels like a montage. Like every scene, nothing happens.
Yeah, it's very. It looks to be. It was shot.
SCTV.
It was shot for $1.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the very low budget. I remember it being like a Sunday night event.
This is 1990. This is me.
Yeah, I mean, back when TV movies were things that people watched.
Yes, but that was also a time where it was very hierarchical. TV movies were TV movies.
Yeah, for sure.
Cheaper, smaller.
You could say cheaper again.
Cheaper.
Although this one did have Rue McClanahan.
You bet. She don't come for cheap.
She don't come for cheap. They blew all of their budget on Rue.
On the McClanahan. They blew all the budget on his mustache. The mustache work in every character is great.
This movie is one that I remember, like, I have memories of from childhood, although it came out when I was 4 years old. So I don't think that I ever, like, actually watched it, but I knew it existed.
See, I have a weird, completely different memory of it.
I remember our parents watching it.
I remember you being obsessed with it and watching it a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I think the only thing you liked, and probably the only thing I liked, were like the recreations of Wizard of Oz, or even though they're not really recreations, they're kind of just weird, terrifying.
Yeah.
Visualizations of
that
them.
maybe makes sense because those parts. So anyway, all of this is to say I haven't watched it in forever, if ever, and so I watched it recently. And the only parts that I seem to remember are the parts that are like where in his imagination. And so maybe is it possible that I just like asked mom to like fast forward to those parts? Because why? I was sitting there at 38 years old, bored to tears. So if I were 5 or 6 watching this,
I don't think she fast forwarded. You probably put it on, and then when it wasn't that, you just were like, I'm a little kid.
No memories of the other parts,
and then came back to it as something you're interested in.
It is okay. So it starts with
it stars Inimitable
giving the worst performance of his career.
Oh, come on.
John Ritter. He's really bad.
He is doing, I think he's the best thing in this movie.
No way.
What's the best thing if it's not him?
I thought Rue was better than him. He's I had the I remember really having the thought last night, like, oh, he's a very bad dramatic actor.
I think he had nothing to work with here.
Well, the script is not very good either.
There's no characterization other than your name is L. Frank Baum, and everyone's going to say it all of the time.
And you are the dreamer of Oz.
People say L. Frank Baum so often, it gives you the feeling of like when you'd see like a time travel movie and someone would go back in time and they'd be like, hey, what are you dreaming about there, L. Frank Baum? And then you and the audience rib your friend, and you're like, that's the guy who made Wizard of Oz. But every scene is that. Every scene, someone is like, I don't know who you think. It reminds me of me and Jen were at the movies. I forget we were seeing probably Barbie for the 4th time. And we were like trying to figure out, we forgot what theater we were supposed to be in. So I was like, maybe, is this the theater or is this Oppenheimer? And we opened the door and literally heard, let me tell you something, Mr. Oppenheimer. It was like a TV show. That's what this movie's like. Every 5 seconds is, listen, L. Frank Baum. What are you, some kind of Wizard of Oz?
Well, okay, so I want to start at the beginning, and then I want to talk about some things that I thought were like partially effective.
Sure.
Okay. So it starts at it's in black. It starts in black and white.
Why not?
Why not? I guess to mimic the 1939 movie. It starts at the premiere of the 1939 film at Grauman's Chinese Theater.
Yes. And
there's like a bunch of they're like, here comes Judy Garland, here comes whatever, but you never see anyone.
Yeah.
Here they are, the two witches riding together, all that kind of stuff. And then this old woman, and by old woman I mean a very young woman with really bad prosthetics and makeup, rolls up in a car, and she gets out, and every reporter's like, who's this bitch?
Yeah.
They're like, who's this old lady? And then one plucky reporter is
played
like,
by John Cameron Mitchell.
Yeah, is like, what's he from?
Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Okay, yeah. So he's like, oh, I want to talk to her. Yeah. And so we quickly learn that she is the widow Baum.
Yes.
Why would nobody care about her? Okay, fine, she's not a big star, but like the way they're like, who's this? Get her out of here.
Yeah, I don't think that would. I don't think anyone wouldn't care.
It was an interesting choice because it left me feeling like the movie is cynical about his legacy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yet still cashing in on it.
Yeah. And also, like, the movie, like, basically, you're right, he has no character, but he is posited as a shiftless loser who goes from one failure to the next to the next.
Yes.
Which, I mean, this is based on his life, so to a certain extent, yeah, sort of, kind of. I mean, there's a character, there's a niece named Dorothy who is almost entirely fictionalized.
No, he did have a niece named
But she
Dorothy.
died at like 3 months old.
She died at 5 months old, whereas in the movie she dies at 6 years old, and he had a relationship with her.
Actually, the real story is more compelling because his wife, named Maud, was very upset that her niece died, so he said, part of his story was there's a girl named Dorothy and she lives with her Aunt M, which was M for Maud.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
So it was like a way of making his wife feel better.
Another huge issue that I think is more interesting in real life is that he actually had a very good relationship with his mother-in-law.
His mother-in-law is, okay, so the minute, like literally within minute 1, he's like, your mother-in-law, isn't she a suffragette? She hates men.
She hates men.
And then the film would have you believe that she is the inspiration for the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yes, very clearly. And like he's using his imagination because
those
he's the
parts
best.
Are cool.
And she's like typing because that's what a bitch will do. She's typing. She's like,
bitches be typing.
It's like it's like enlightenment versus romanticism.
Yes,
yes,
100%.
She's enlightenment. She's typing. She's logic, and that's all bad.
Yeah,
and he
whimsy.
sees her.
He's whimsy,
and so he sees her as the witch. But in real life, they actually had a very nice relationship.
Yeah,
and he respected her and liked her a lot.
Towards the end of the film, she supports him.
Yes.
There's a turn at the end where she gives him the support of like, I've read your book, it's really good. You should get it published.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's mostly about him and his. It is very there's no conflict for a long time. It's just, I met Maud. Her mother didn't want us to get. We were in love instantly. I asked her to marry me maybe 5 minutes after we met. Yeah. Is it a different day? I couldn't tell. Her mother didn't want us to get married, but then we did anyway. No, so really quick resolutions to that. Then we had one kid. Then we had another kid. Then we had another kid.
And then we moved here.
We moved here. We moved there. We moved to the Dakota Territory. My son randomly was sitting in a window with razors for some reason. And that part was so like a fever dream.
Right. So we should say the crux of this film is, and I gotta say, by
the way, we watched this on YouTube for free, and it is like a very blurry transfer from VHS.
Yeah, and it's the best way you can watch it. I have to say, and this is not the only film that's guilty of this, I have always hated the depiction of creativity as like it comes to you via osmosis. Like there's no, like, L. Frank Baum is not a writer in this. He doesn't sit, he doesn't think, he doesn't plan.
He channels.
He channels.
He is a channel for magic. Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, you're right.
So his son, like you do, steals his razors and is hanging
gonna
out
jump
a
out the window
because he's like, you said I couldn't play with your razors inside the house, so I'm outside the house. Why not go out the front door?
Weird and stupid.
But
and it's played for such heavy drama.
Oh my god!
Where the wife is like, Frank, be careful.
Yeah, and he's like, to distract my son from not falling and dying, let me start telling him about a magical land. And that's how that starts. And then there's a lot of this person is this person.
Well, that's okay. So the other thing I was going to say is I think that's the only stuff that kind of works is that like you see inspirations for the,
it's the only
story
stuff
in
it's
his
the
life.
Content.
It's the only I
don't think it works, and it's there.
I don't even works is I'm using that very liberally. I just mean like it's a thing that you could go, huh, when you watch it. And it's also like just entirely like stolen from the MGM Wizard of Oz. Where it's like everyone in his life, there is a Oz counterpart for, including like some shiesty guy on a train who's like a scammer, who when his wife finally encourages him to start writing the Oz story, he's like, there's no conflict. Like, it's not all coming together. All I have is like Dorothy and her meeting these pals. I don't know where it's going. And then he just randomly thinks of this guy. And that's when he gets the idea of like, oh, there's this humbug wizard.
Yeah. Right. And then there's the Cowardly Lion is inspired by a person that did not exist.
Yeah.
Someone who challenges him
to a duel and then runs away comically. It's the worst sequence in the film. It's so boring, so long, so horrible.
Yeah.
This guy basically like insults him, then challenges him to like a duel at 10 paces, sort of, and then runs away.
Yeah, and they spend a lot of time doing this.
Yeah, it's a long walk for a short drink of water.
It's way too much. And he has a little person friend that he works with, another person who did not exist. But of course, like, it's the only little person he ever met, so he inspired the Munchkins, I guess.
That's they moved from like upstate New York to the Dakota Territory, which was not a state at the time. So all that, like the tracking the geography of where they moved around the country was real.
Yes, that's real.
It also comes to a point where like he's right on the edge of success, and then the movie's like, let's skip the parts where he writes all the Oz books.
Right.
It just goes from them to that, from him, okay, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna publish it, to his deathbed.
Yes.
And he wrote 14 Oz books in between.
Right.
That time.
And it's one line where she's like, he wrote 14 more Oz books.
It's so...
I was reading
what
Wikipedia.
A choice.
He's written like 85 short stories, 1,000 poems.
He was always a writer. Yeah.
Right. In this, he's not a writer. Right.
Frank Baum wanted to be like I think he fancied himself like a Shakespeare type. Yeah. Like the actor / playwright / writer, poet.
Yeah.
And he never quite made it. But he did produce a very successful Oz musical that this movie doesn't even mention.
Doesn't it mention it?
Does it?
I think it might mention it in that final monologue.
I missed it.
When he's gonna die.
I missed it. Yeah, it's such a weird. The pacing is so weird. The performances are so bad. But it's the only L. Frank Baum movie we got.
Isn't that crazy? How is there not another one? Because even if you like look at the real events of his life, there's interesting stuff there.
Yeah.
There's interesting stuff in his marriage and him trying businesses and failing, and you know, I don't know. I guess probably no truth to this, but the publishers being like, no one wants an American fairy tale.
Yeah, I bet there is some truth to that.
I found the whole second half, maybe even like last quarter, I liked. Like when he's like writing and like the illustrator becomes a character in it. I was like, okay, this is interesting.
Denslow.
Yeah. I was like, okay, this is interesting. He's writing Mother Goose and then Father Goose. He gives up to fund Oz. He gives up his royalties on Father Goose, which probably is real. It feels too specific to not be
Father
real.
Goose?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've read it.
No, I mean not that it's that's real. That he funded Oz by giving up his money.
I think that's real.
So that's interesting. There's interesting shit there.
They don't touch on the fact that he and W.W. Denslow like had a big falling out, though.
Right? Doesn't he only do one book?
He left after the first Oz book, and the rest of the Oz books are illustrated by somebody else.
Do you know why they had a falling out?
I don't know. I think based on what I've read,
they had a mustache.
It's just they
had a mustache off.
He did the Father Goose and Tot and Dot in Fairyland, and like all the other short stories and children's books he wrote. So he was his like partner for a while, and then I think I just read that they like had professional differences or something. I don't know. And then the Oz books illustrations do change. The style changes quite dramatically.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true, right?
It becomes much more realistic looking after the first book.
That's interesting. But you know what's interesting? When they were showing him doing the drawings, I didn't feel like they particularly looked that much like the illustrations.
At all. I bet that was like a copyright thing.
Did you ever see Tolkien from 2019?
God, no.
Starring, who did star? Oh, Nicholas Hoult. Is it Nicholas Hoult? Yeah, Nicholas Hoult. This movie, I bring it up only because it does a similar idea in a much, much better way, which is it's his actual life story, his actual romance with his wife, his actual education, his actual story about his mother, his actual story go to the war. But then there's like one scene in war where there's a lot of like melee going on, and there's like fire, and he sort of imagines a dragon.
Okay.
And that's it. It's not all that. Whereas that kind of thing is what this entire movie is.
Yeah. And those sequences are so
terrifying.
They're shitty.
Oh well, it's just really shitty green screen.
I was gonna ask what that is. It's green screen.
Yeah. It's super flat looking.
The Scarecrow's really scary.
And the Tin Man, which actually looks accurate to the illustration, is also pretty scary. But how do you feel about John Ritter playing all three?
Oh, great.
I feel great about it. No, getting back to that argument, I think that he's an extremely charming person, and I feel like his charm gives a little bit of light to this movie. He had nothing to work with, and he at least makes you like him.
Yeah, he's likable, but he's likable in that way that like so often biopics will defang the person that they're trying to portray and make them like they are all good and with very little complexity or interiority or like any fault whatsoever.
Right. Well, his faults in this are more like being unlucky. Like, gee gosh, things don't work.
Yeah.
And my business doesn't work because I'm letting people take stuff for free because I'm so nice a person.
That's the thing. It's like he's just so perfect.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy. I've always had an idea of doing a biopic of Maurice Sendak. Because he's interesting. He's gay and he's closeted for most of his life, but he had a relationship for like 50 years. People were against him. His books were banned. He'd be an interesting person. Yeah. But you don't do this shit. Don't have like his nephew that you made up run into a room and he'll be like, you're a wild thing. Looks at the audience and winks.
Yeah, I guess we should say that in the film this niece is like a 10-year-old girl, not 8-year-old girl.
No, I'm gonna say something. Nothing exceptional about this girl.
Oh, God.
Like, why does he love her so? Like, you can, like, when like a writer puts a placeholder. Like, I feel like when he goes in, she's like running back and forth by the door.
Yeah.
And he's like, I see you. And then all of a sudden they have a great relationship. You feel like the writer was like, okay, no, we'll come up with something better. Like we'll come up with like a better game or whatever.
You know what it is too? I had this thought. Obviously, like,
because he has his own children.
I love my nieces and nephews. Like, I get that love, but that's what I was just gonna say is like by the time he meets her, he is a father of children. So it's not like she's the only child in his life.
Right.
She's the only girl. Maybe that's part of it.
Sure.
Because he had 3 sons. But she is presented as like his muse.
And it's the most dramatic thing in the movie, yet it's horseshit
she
because
dies.
she died at 5 months.
Right. In the movie she dies at like 8 of like consumption or something.
And
as she's dying,
he talks to her and they have relationships and he tells her stories and stuff.
Yeah, and he's like, actually because originally he said the little boy was in a house that was carried by a cyclone to the magic land, and he's like, actually it was a little girl and her name was Dorothy.
Yeah.
And the audience is like, oh.
And she's like, oh, really?
Yeah, she plays it so. What a flat performance from that little girl.
I thought she was
no
fine.
nuance. No, she was cute.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna run back and like that's your business. Come on, something better. You everything in this movie is just like he sees her and we didn't say when he sees the wife for the first time he imagines her as Glinda.
Yeah.
Okay. So and then he's immediately in love with her. No reason why. Like there's no...
I legitimately couldn't figure. He meets her at a party.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out if he's proposing to her that same evening.
I think it's supposed to be later because this was be a different time.
The transition was very
because she's narrating the wife. Right, because she's telling this reporter who's the only one who gives a shit about her their life story
outside of Grauman Chinese Theater.
Right,
life has gone from color to black and white now.
Yes,
because now in 1939 she's in black and white.
Right,
even though in the 1800s they were in color.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. It really does. There's no good reason for it to be black and white.
Well, that's the same thing with the fucking Oz the Great and Powerful. We keep doing this, and it's like, give me a good reason to do this.
So the whole thing is like, this was written in a week. This was done in a weekend. This was done.
Okay, can we talk about the team behind it? It's directed by Jack Bender, who is the auteur behind Child's Play 3.
Great film.
He's done episodes of Lost, episodes of Alias. The story's by David Kirshner, who's mostly a producer, but he wrote He wrote the original script of Hocus Pocus and the original script of American Tail, and was like the creator of Fievel, or co-creator of Fievel.
So he's the one who stole Mouse from...
Yes, you goddamn right.
Yeah.
But this is the thing that really blew my mind. The screenplay is written by Richard Matheson, who wrote I Am Legend and What Dreams May Come and Stir of Echoes, and is like he's not famous, but he's a very, very well-known like genre writer.
Well, I don't know. Maybe this was just like a side gig.
It's so bad though. Like Richard Matheson has written episodes of Star Trek. He's written episodes of The Twilight Zone. Like you could look at other stuff he did for TV and be like, these are really good. He's really good.
Yeah.
He wrote the made-for-TV movie Kolchak the Night Stalker, which is like important in genre because like you wouldn't have things like Buffy and stuff without Kolchak.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's like, but this is just structurally, it's so bad. There's like no structure. There's nothing holding this thing together.
No, you're right. Unless, I don't know, it could be one of those situations where like what we're seeing is not actually the screenplay he wrote.
Maybe, yeah. That's very possible.
Some others have said that that's a cop out when screenwriters say that about movies that are bad.
Maybe, but also, you have no say over what the film is.
Right.
You know what I mean? It could be word perfect too, but just the tone ruins it.
I was trying to like pay attention to the lines and stuff and see if there's like good writing in there that I could find, and no, not really. The dialogue was very clunky, and like I said, it all felt very rushed.
Yes,
it felt like a rushed book report or something.
They used to shoot these things like fucking in like 3 weeks or something. Like they used to do these things very, very quickly.
Yeah,
huge turnaround.
Maybe it was just a paycheck for him.
1990. Is this the same year he did Problem Child?
John Ritter, you mean?
Yeah. What a big year for Mr. Ritter. Yes, 1990, the same year as what a year.
What a year.
And he was probably like, you know what? I'll do Problem Child for money, but my big breakout is going to be I'm really getting into drama now, and this is going to be what it's going to be from now on. According to IMDb, John Ritter is L. Frank Baum's 13th cousin once removed.
Whoa.
So Okay, here's something stupid. He starts telling the story about the magical land and only calls it the magical land for what seems in the movie to be like 10 to 12 years.
Yeah.
And then one day, some child's like, "What's the name of the magical land?" And he's like, "Huh, you stumped me."
That would be
I've
the
never
first question.
thought of that ever.
And that would also be the first question any kid would ask.
That's also the first question a writer would think.
Yeah.
You just the magical land.
And then he looks at like a filing cabinet or something.
And it says O to Z.
O to Z. He's like, Oz.
Which is...
That's real, I've heard.
It's a real apocryphal story that L. Frank Baum would tell in interviews, but it's certainly not real.
You don't think that's real?
No, it's just some bullshit
there's another
said.
land of Ev
Yeah.
that comes up that, he said came
I think it's probably some colorful thing
from the same way, maybe.
But even if it was
Maybe
true...
the whole time it was like, oh, this is Australia. That's what they do down there.
Yeah, it's colorful.
Yeah. Prison colony.
That's the second time this has come up. What about when he's mad at his kid and he throws the ball and he's like, "Not tonight."
Yeah,
he's like,
bad.
"Father, tell me a
He's
story."
giving a bad performance.
Well, yeah, there's a weird part where like there's a montage of him going to different editors and different publishers, and they're like, "Nah, we don't like this." And then he's like drinking and sitting up late and like looking disheveled, and he's like falling apart at the seams. And like he decides he's gonna destroy the manuscript one page at a time. He's like, crumble up a page, throw it, crumble up a page, throw it. And his wife comes in, she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Don't you see I'm a failure?" It's like,
it's also
why
like,
couldn't he have had that feel? He's too optimistic all the way through.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, he's not optimistic, and she challenges one of his decisions after backing him up
backing him for everything.
Like, why don't you push some of that drama back a little bit? When he's like, "Let's open a store," and have her be like,
bizarre. Yeah,
have her be like, "No, that's a bad idea," and we'll have some conflict over it.
Yeah. Well, then that gives the opportunity for the mother to step in.
So his first check for the Wizard of Oz in this is $3,000. And they're making a huge deal. According to the internet, that would be something like $100,000 now.
Okay.
So that is a good amount of money for
especially if you're
first check.
yeah,
especially
poor.
if you're like poor. But by the way, they're always living in houses like, and I'm thinking, is this just movie? Is this the language of film, or is this? There was once upon a time where a man could just have a job and raise a family.
I think
And now I have two jobs and struggle to buy action figures.
Yeah. Well, also, like, he makes a big deal about, like, when they move to the Dakota Territory that it's super cheap there.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, that's another part. They show him writing the first line of the novel.
Yeah.
And then he's like, Dorothy lived in the Dakota Territory. And then he crosses it out and changes it to the Great Kansas Prairie.
Yeah.
With no explanation of why he made that change.
This is not how writing happens.
Yeah.
Also, like, throughout the whole thing, he gets nosebleeds and he has a bad heart, and it's like, how? Explain that a little bit more to me.
I couldn't.
He seems to die when he's old anyway.
Yeah,
so...
I don't know why. Like, one of the first things you see is him having a nosebleed.
Yeah. And his sister's like, "Are you having one of your nosebleeds?"
Your heart doctor. It was something about his heart doctor. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
That sounds like 19th century medicine.
This was stupid. Anthony, thanks for talking.
Don't watch this movie, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Hello, I'm here with Jennifer Luttrell. Jen, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Nice to see you.
You too.
Nice to have you back.
Yeah.
Peach is also with us. She'll try not to be too much of a distraction.
Uh-huh.
She might bark because she has things to say.
She does have things to say.
Nothing smart to say, though.
Oh, come on. She's very smart.
Come on. So we're here today on 400th episode. Mm-hmm. You and I are talking about Wicked.
Yeah. Exciting.
Now, there's so much to say. I have seen the show twice. Mm-hmm. How many times have you seen the show?
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say.
I was trying to think about it today. I saw it with the original cast.
Wow.
When I was in high school. and it just came out, and I
Wowzers.
was like, I like the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
I'd like to do this. I like the Wizard of Oz. I like Broadway.
So
Sounds great.
perfect for me.
Yeah, and it was great. It was amazing. And then I took a friend from college. I've taken at least 3 people to see it for the first time, and I feel like also I've rushed tickets.
And you've seen it once.
We've seen it. It's got to be at least 5, but
Gotta
it's
be at least
probably
5.
more. I don't know.
Oh, Peach is sad about that. Why did you see it so many times, Mommy?
I don't know. I'm so sorry. You weren't born.
So you're a big Wizard of Oz person.
The movie.
Yes, just in general, the Wizard of
Yeah.
Oz.
Yeah.
Have you ever read the book Wicked?
I tried this year.
Yes.
I did not care for it.
Okay. I've heard many people say that
Yeah.
if you're a fan of the show, the book is certainly not the show.
No.
How far did you get in the book?
Couple of chapters.
What was it that was like, nah?
I don't know. It was, I don't know. Maybe it was a little confusing for me. And I got up to like when the puppets have sex,
Okay.
and that's fine. I don't know. I just like, it just wasn't for me.
What puppets are having sex?
I don't know. I don't even really know. I don't even really know. I feel like my heart wasn't in it. I tried. I don't think I was paying that close attention.
Yeah.
And then I got lost in the characters, and I was like, I don't really know what's happening.
I bet there were a lot of people have similar stories this year because
Yeah.
Wicked Part 1 came out. We should say, as we're recording this for the 400th episode, only Wicked Part 1 is out.
But the
Wicked
trailer-
Part 2, or
yeah.
Wicked for Good, as it's probably gonna, the title card in the movie probably says Wicked Part 2 because the first one says Wicked Part 1, but the the marketing calls it Wicked for Good. Yes, the
guess-
trailer is out.
I guess also spoiler alert in case we go more in depth about the play.
Right. If you've only seen Wicked Part 1, the
Yeah.
film, and never seen the show, and certainly never read the book, then spoiler alert for the second half of the Wicked tale. Oh. That's a sad dog. This is what happens when you have a bratty dog that you don't pay attention to for 1 second.
She's right between us too.
And she's like, why am
But-
I not the one you're focusing on? So you and I saw Wicked Part 1, how many times? 4 or 5? We saw it
Probably 5.
probably 5. All right, we saw it. I remember the first time. That was was it a preview? Was it an early show?
Yeah, it was early.
That was a good one.
It was at
a Regal?
Regal, I think.
It was at a Regal.
Yeah.
And then we saw it just
Not good enough because when Adina Menzel and
You mean Adele Dazeem?
yeah, and Kristen Chenoweth came out, I feel like I was the only one
Yeah.
flabbergasted.
I have to say, I've seen many, many, many motion pictures with you, but I've never seen you react that way.
So excited.
You reacted the way like a bro reacts when they see Henry fucking Cavill's Superman at the end of Black Adam. Like, what? Oh my god! But it's the you version of that.
I know.
You fisted up in the air. You pumped your fist up in the air like you were raising the roof.
It was so good.
I was so happy that you were so happy.
That was for me, I think, only.
Yeah, it was for the people like you, for
No,
sure.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Yes, because it seemed like a lot of people were into it, but I don't think there was enough show fans that
No.
understood the cameo.
Yeah. But it was a perfect cameo.
It was very
It
good.
was a perfect place to place them.
Yeah.
It was something new. It were not well in addition to a song that's was already in the show.
Yeah. What's it called?
One Short Day.
One
No. Yeah.
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 One short day in the
It's so good.
yeah, and they're good in it. They kind of they're not playing the characters they play, but they're kind of doing
Yeah.
the voices a little bit.
Yeah.
And they were I know Peach, and they were the marketing was good enough to not spoil that.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
is typically things get spoiled, and that was really not spoiled.
Yeah.
I had a feeling that they might be in there somewhere.
Well, right. I mean, everyone did.
But you didn't think they'd be together and singing a song.
No, and Dina Menzel did the
Yeah,
she did that.
A version of it, yeah.
And they each went to their old character, like Idina Menzel was by Cynthia Erivo. And
yeah.
That was it's a perfect movie. I'll say it.
You think it's a perfect movie?
I think so. I think it's a perfect. I do think it's a perfect movie, but I also think it's a perfect adaptation. They were very considerate of the fans, I think, and nothing was cut. Yeah. They only added.
Yes, that's right. Nothing was cut,
and they could have.
Of course, yeah. You hear all the time my favorite song was cut or whatever,
right?
And they did not cut any songs.
I was gonna say I always skip Sentimental Man, so
they could have cut that. They didn't, Peach. They really made it for the fans. But it also has broad appeal. I mean, it made a ton of money. So it's a perfect movie, so any change would ruin its perfection.
Well, no. I would take changes.
You would?
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel in general about it being two films?
I don't know. I blame Harry Potter for that. I feel like...
Sure, I blame it too.
Everything I love has been two films now.
Yes, that's
Hunger
true.
Games is two... I mean, those were series.
Yeah. Because much as I love Wicked, right? Just as I've seen the show twice. I saw it long, like 2007. It was not at all the original cast, and then I saw it again with you like last year. And I do like the movie a lot, but it's as much as it feels like a story because there's stuff happening, and there's arcs kind of. It's not really a story. It's like half a story.
No, right? Yeah.
And from what, now we don't know yet because it's not out yet, but from what we've seen in the trailer and what we hear from the buzz, there's a belief that the second film will have more changes than the first film. Will be less faithful to it.
Right.
There's all these talks about, like, is there a Dorothy in it? Is the little girl from Abigail playing Dorothy? I personally, right now, I'm going to say I don't, even if they show Dorothy from the behind more, I don't think Dorothy is going to be a speaking character in it. I don't think they're going to change that much. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know how much she'll speak. I'm really just, like, interested. I guess I didn't really think about that much. I was just, like, interested to see the things that I saw on stage, and I'm interested to know what they're gonna do with Nessa.
You mean that horrible person, Nessa?
Come on.
She's terrible. She's a terrible sister. A terrible person.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I remember when I saw the show with you, I said to you, very cleverly of me, I said, I feel like they're gonna have to change Nessa a lot because a lot of her "gosh, I wish I wasn't disabled" feels very tone deaf in 2025. And in the first movie it's changed a little bit too. I mean, obviously, like, she's in the chair and she talks about being in the chair in the song, but like she doesn't have that, tragically beautiful thing.
Right.
So we'll see how that plays out in the second one. Well, all right, let me ask you, what was the I know, Peach, why are they doing this? Why aren't they talking to me? Peach hates motion pictures, we should say, because Mommy and Daddy, when they leave, they go to the movies a lot, and she's like, why can't I go to the movies? I told you, Peach, civil rights isn't there yet, but one day you will. I know, it's the saddest dog ever. I'm so sad.
She has a great life.
Yeah, you should see when we're in the car and she wants us to roll the window down so she could put her little head out. If it's freezing cold in the dead of winter or boiling hot in the dead of summer or it's raining or snowing, she don't care. She's like, open the window, and then she will cry about her sad life. No one's ever had it as hard as Peach.
Poor Peach.
Oh,
Peach, how do you feel about Toto being on a leash in the trailer? Oh no!
We both put our mics in front of her, and she went back and forth like, I don't. Which one is mine? Which one do I talk to? Oh, I didn't notice Toto on a leash.
Yeah, it's all buzz now.
That's woke bullshit.
I don't know. Oz Vlog thinks maybe they're going to use that to make Elphaba kind of hate Dorothy.
Oh.
Because she's got her animal
That's good.
tied up. What do you think?
I like it.
I know.
Yeah. I know, Peach. Now, Peach, this movie has... you're ahead of me. This movie has a lot of anti-animal sentiment. How do you feel about that? Oh, okay. I'll scratch the microphone is how I feel about it. So, I haven't read the book, but to me, that's one of the most clever things about Wicked that as far as I know, isn't part of the Oz lore. Like, I've read the original Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
But I've never read the 14 other books.
Right.
That L. Frank Baum wrote.
Right, me neither.
Having, like, read and watched a lot of Oz stuff for the 400th episode, it made me wonder if it's in some ways based on or inspired by Elmira Gulch from the 1939 film and her hate of Toto. But it's a very weird thing. I do know that in Oz, right, in the world of Oz, all animals can speak.
Right.
So that's a thing. Like,
Right.
even Toto speaks at some point.
Right.
And then there's, of course, in, like, Return to Oz, there's the chicken that speaks and stuff. So it's an interesting idea. I do like, me and Janine discussed Oz the Great and Powerful, which kind of tries to make you root for the wizard, even though he's a scumbag. What I like about Wicked is they rightly make the wizard a bad guy.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't he be? He rules the people based on fear and propaganda.
Yeah.
He's not a good guy.
Right.
How do you feel about Jeff Goldblum's performance?
I think those would be the changes that I would be open to. I love Jeff Goldblum.
Sure.
But I think that Broadway people know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I wish they'd gotten singers.
Okay.
I don't think we needed... I don't know. You already have Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need other names.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum doesn't have a big song and he can sing.
Right. He's a musical guy.
And I mean Peter Dinklage can sing too.
Yeah.
But like, wouldn't it be cool if that role was like given to someone? No.
So it's more that you don't like the song, his song anyway.
I don't like his song anyway. Nah, it's a skip.
Right.
And he can sing.
What isn't he
you
doing
can really
for you?
tell.
Yeah.
You can really tell the performers, the Broadway performers.
Well, I've only seen the show twice, and it seems like every time I've seen it, they play the wizard more inspired by like Frank Morgan from 39, and he's sort of like affable,
Yeah.
and sweet and avuncular, which I think makes the turn of him being bad better.
Right.
Whereas Goldblum's kind of playing it like Goldblum. He's kind of playing it from the get-go as like, I'm shifty and you can't can't totally trust me.
Yeah,
he's kind of muttering everything under his breath and doing the Goldblum thing. So he kind of is.
Yeah.
And even when he turns bad, he doesn't sell that well. Like he's like when he runs behind and says, guards, go get her.
Right.
Like it doesn't feel like, oh, he's so bad.
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying to remember what the wizard does in the second act. Well, we learn in the second act that the wizard, spoiler alert, is her father.
Right.
Her true father.
Right. Which I guess if you're listening, although I kind of knew, so maybe I wouldn't have picked it up. But I think it is Jeff Goldblum singing at the beginning.
I think it is, but I think they've fucked with the pitch a little bit to try to euthanize his voice. But it definitely, you can tell. Yeah.
But I was also thinking, like, Michelle Yeoh, who's amazing and beautiful and deserves every Oscar.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have put someone else
Miscast.
as Madame Moore.
Well,
She's not a singer.
Yeah, she's a great actress.
I think that's just my thing.
She's a great actress.
It's a musical.
Yeah, right.
She's a great Madame Marble.
Yeah, she's good. It's the singing that hurts. Yeah.
She's trying her best.
This is the thing that plagues musical films always, right? Like whether it be Emma
I know.
Watson. Is it Watson?
Emma Watson.
In-
I
in-
hated her in that role.
Yeah, in
God.
Beauty and the Beast, or
Actually,
is
I
it
didn't
Gerard
hate her in
Butler
that role.
that people
That's not
make
fair.
fun of in Les Miserables?
I think he's good in that, but yes, it is. I don't
Okay.
hate him in that. Oh no, wait, no, it's not Gerard Butler. It's is it Russell Crowe?
Oh,
No.
Russell Crowe. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah, people make fun of that.
I don't hate
That's
him in
always
that.
kind of a problem with musicals.
He's probably miscast too, but I don't know. I don't hate his voice in it.
Yeah.
But oh god, I hated Emma Watson's voice. She is a good Belle, but not singing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like you got I don't know.
Well, that's the
Michelle
thing.
Yeoh's good.
Broadway people, you could be the biggest star on Broadway, and that doesn't cross over. Like
I know.
They just did the that spinoff of Vision, WandaVision, and about the witch. What is her name? Agatha, and that had in it Patti LuPone as
Right.
a witch, and there are more young people who know of the existence of Patti LuPone now than before that show, and I'm sure in her career. She sees doing a Marvel TV show as
as
like the least
just a
important
paycheck.
thing
Yeah.
she's ever done.
Her.
So I feel like
yeah.
even Idina Menzel, it's because she jumped over. I think.
Right. Yeah.
She does movies and stuff.
Right. And so does Kristen Chenoweth does, like she did all the Descendants.
Yes. So was Cindy Revo's not in the Color Purple movie? Was she in any movie, or was she just?
Yeah, she's been in movies. She was in the live action Pinocchio. She was the good fairy.
Oh right, I forgot because that's the worst movie ever.
I know. I gotta come up with better examples.
But yeah.
But Ariana Grande, I know there was like mixed feelings.
She's perfect.
Right, and maybe I was just a fan from the beginning.
Yeah.
But she's always wanted this, and I knew
You could feel it.
I knew she was gonna. She took such care.
Yeah. You could see the theater kid in her that has like thought of this for her whole life.
That first scene, amazing. She's doing you could tell everything. She's
Yeah.
doing everything. She just lost her best friend. She's trying to get control of the narrative of how people think of her. When that one guy says no one mourns the wicked, the way she turns and is like, nope,
Yeah.
but then has to pull it together.
Yeah. She lands the comedy of like, it's
Yes.
good to see me, isn't
Right,
it?
but everyone knew. Again, I don't know. I've always been a fan of her, but like she can do comedy.
Yeah.
I don't think I wasn't worried about the comedy, but
Yeah.
she can do everything.
Yeah.
She can do everything.
She's really good.
perfect.
Her Popular, I think, is really,
Yes.
really good and
Yes.
funny. And I like the la la la's that they
Yes.
add in, which makes a lot of sense. But I do think that she's different from
Yeah.
the play, and it could be some of the writing too. To me, she feels less like a ditz, and more like a mean girl pretending to be ditzy.
And I think that has to be on purpose because then she's just doing an impression.
Right, exactly. And she's not just doing an impression; she's definitely doing her version of it.
But she honored, like she's kind of doing a Kristen Chenoweth accent.
Yeah.
She's just so good.
Remember when we saw the sing-along version and it was terrible? We walked out.
Well, because no one was singing.
We saw it with the worst crowd ever.
No one was singing.
And we tried a little bit to like get a little bit of singing going, and nobody. And it was like, this has been out for months, guys.
I know.
You want to sit here quietly? Then this is not for you. It was a bummer. That was a bummer.
I know.
And we were like, yeah. Well, what do we wait for? We waited for Popular, and then we were like, all right, after Popular, we'll leave.
If Popular can get you.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't know what's gonna get you.
And again, we had seen it at least 4 times before.
I think that was the fifth. I think we saw 4.5.
Yeah.
That was the attempt at a fifth. Ugh, so that first scene always like makes me tear up a little. Watch the first scene. Really watch the
no one
first
mourns
scene.
the wicked?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. She just gets it. Watch Ariana Grande's face. Like she's giving you every emotion.
Yeah.
She's really
trying
to hold it together and be who the government needs her to be, but is upset for her friend and is trying
Yeah.
To spin something, but still has to be the presence that she is. And then after she's exhausted by all of that, like, it's a funny line when she's like, I'm gonna go, but you could just tell, like, she's spent, she's done everything she could do, and she just wants to go home and lay down.
Right. Yeah.
Now
No, it
she's
is
gotta
really
tell
good.
a whole story.
Yeah, right. It's just the whole movie.
It's just she's so good. I can't say it enough. She's so good,
Yeah.
I think.
You know, it's a song that I could care less about in the show, but is really good in the movie. Dancing Through Life.
I love Dancing Through Life in both, but yeah, it is really good in the movie.
The way they do it with like the library and the rotating
sets.
bookshelves and all that is,
the
I
sets
think, really
are a huge
brilliant.
part of it too.
Yeah.
That they built. They're in sets.
Yeah, I want to address that because
God.
there seems to be a weird thing where people say this movie doesn't look good.
I think it looks
and
amazing.
I gotta say, I don't understand that. And I disagree entirely. It doesn't replicate the Technicolor look of the Oz we know from 1939. It's more pastel-y. It's a little bit more muted, but it's certainly colorful. I mean, think about the forest when they've got the baby, the lion cub, and they're letting it go. That's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
I think Emerald City looks really beautiful, and it looks like a real city. Like you could be like, this is just a big room.
Yeah.
This is a city that people do things in. The train looks great, and I think that was mostly practical.
Yeah, it was.
All the costumes. I don't get when people are like, oh, it doesn't look good. I don't get that.
I think it's a perfect movie.
But you know, it's patriarchy.
I know.
Any film that people perceive as being for a female audience, even though I don't think this is necessarily for a female audience, it's for everybody. But any film that people perceive that way, people will judge very, very harshly. I mean, even some people are like, oh, it's a good movie, but it looks terrible. It's like, it looks terrible? No, it doesn't. It looks really good. It looks very good.
Yeah.
And I think that's a hard translation because the show really is abstract in the way it does things.
Right.
And you really can't get any cues from the show of like how things are supposed to look.
Right. Yeah, I think he had to build a lot of that from The Wizard of Oz.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't have the Technicolor thing, but it still to me feels like Oz.
Yeah, especially in Munchkin Land. That very much feels like Munchkin Land.
Yeah.
It
It feels to me more like Oz than like, and I love this movie, but Return to Oz, right? Return to Oz, that feels like a nightmare, a hellscape.
Yeah.
Like, this feels like the Oz that I know.
Yeah.
I love the funny Oz talk, like Braverism, Scandalocious. That I think that's
They do that
an
in
invention of this
they
in
do-
the show. But
no, right. But what I was going to say, I don't think they do it as much in this show.
it's a big part. Yeah,
I always felt like maybe that was like city slang almost. Like Madame
I see.
Marble and Glinda speak that way. But
Yeah.
I don't remember Elphaba ever speaking that way, but she kind of does
yeah.
in this one.
There's
It
like-
almost felt like more like slang.
There's a great line from Bowen Yang, which he could have improvised when
Yeah.
Glinda changes her name for Galinda to Glinda, and he's like, such braverism.
It's so good. He's so good.
He's great in it. It was great.
Fantastic.
It was smart to sort of gender swap that role, I think.
And to give it more, because
Yeah,
they don't really do much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he takes the hat, and he's like,
Yeah.
"What's the reason?"
Yeah. So good.
Yeah, it's good. I can't wait for the second part.
Me
But
too.
you know, I want to bring up something. When I was talking to like last year or something, I was talking to Peter Marsh on an episode. It might have been a He-Man episode. It might have been a Ninja Turtles episode. You never know.
You never know.
But we were saying that we hate people who try to gatekeep and that are like, "Oh, you ruined so and so," and I made the point that you need adaptation to continue the idea. I don't want to say IP because that sounds so corporate, but the idea or the story. You know what I mean? Like I'll use the example again. Wednesday is not exactly the Addams Family, but now the Addams Family lives for another couple decades. Right? Annie, you know, Annie was like a radio show and a, what do you call it?
Comic.
Comic in the newspaper, and was kind of gonna die, but then they made the Broadway show, and now that's so long ago, we think of that as a big part of what Annie is, whereas at the time it was a big change, a big adaptation. Wizard of Oz, of course, is always popular, but I feel like Wicked isn't some, like, it doesn't think it's better than Wizard of Oz. It's not like, oh, Wizard of Oz is stupid and we're better.
No.
It's
an extension.
Yeah, it's an extension, and it's inviting more people into it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly why I wanted to see it. I was like,
Right. As an Oz kid, you were like, this is going to be good. Yeah. It doesn't really ruin anything.
No. It adds to it. It tells you the creation of all your favorite characters. Yeah. It gives backstory.
Yeah. And it kind of like the way they took the Snow Queen and turned it into Frozen. And instead of making it about two women against each other, it made it about two women that care about each other and something went wrong. Like, it does that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It kind of
Maleficent too
has a feminist edge. Yeah. Maleficent is... I like the first Maleficent.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a scene in that where, like, does she have wings that are cut off?
Yeah.
And it's like a rape scene, basically. She wakes up and her wings are cut off, and she's like screaming. It's like, Jesus. Yeah, I like that. So, what Wizard of Oz from 1939 is your favorite movie? Would you say?
Yep.
So, of the Wizard of Oz films you've seen, how would you rank Wicked?
What? I was going to say, how many Wizard of Oz films have I seen? I guess I've seen.
Probably seen all the major ones. You've seen Return to Oz?
I don't remember it, but probably.
You didn't have Disney Channel as a kid?
Is that the one? Yeah, I did.
It was a big Disney Channel movie.
That's not the one with Liza Minnelli. Is there one with Liza Minnelli?
No. But I have seen that. That's an animated one, isn't it?
Maybe. It's pretty high. It's probably 2.
Yeah, okay.
Wizard of Oz one. 1, always.
Yeah.
Number 1, always.
All right.
Yeah.
Jen, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right. I'm here with Nadia Cater. Nadia, thanks for being part of 400.
Mike, thank you. And thank you for inviting me into, what do you call this?
This is the Cave of...
Cave of Wonders?
Yeah. It doesn't really have a name. It's my sanctuary. It's my fortress of solitude.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't want to call it a dungeon, but I mean, technically we are in a basement.
We were in a basement, but we're surrounded by lights and color. And
fun toys.
And
like
toys.
This is a dungeon I want to be in.
And stuff. Yes, and there's various sections. Ghostbusters section, Masters of the Universe section. And then I work from here when I work from home.
There's also small smatterings of the Wizard of Oz.
Yes. My mother collected the Franklin Mint plates, and I still have some of them.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah, that's who made them.
Is that like a thing still? Like, I feel like that's an old-fashioned...
Oh, yeah,
like,
it's still a thing. They still do that shit.
They still do plates?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That stuff never goes out of style.
Well, I feel like I kind of think of, like, collectibles. Like, you have a bunch of, like, Funko Pops. Like, I feel like that's kind of our generation, kind of collectibles. But I think of older generations as, like, here's a commemorative spoon.
Right.
For the World's Fair.
Or, like, Precious Moments. Remember Precious Moments? They were, like, little, like, chibi, like... statues of things.
Yeah, they were basically they were so-called angel. They were basically like Christian.
Yes, they were very Christian.
Yeah, so I was like, imagine like Christian, I don't know, like Disney stuff or...
Yeah, I had a Precious Moments Bible. It was the Bible, but it had illustrations that looked like Precious Moments people.
Oh, that's weird, because I think I had, and I don't know where this came from, because I can't imagine me and my sisters ever asking for this, but we had a Precious Moments like short story collection.
Incredible. Like
illustrated, and it would be like sort of moral tales. Like there was one who was a butcher that was cheating this woman because he was like leaving his finger on the scale. But like,
Son of a bitch.
but also the woman who's buying the meat and the butcher both looked, 6 years old because they're precious moments.
Right. It's very weird. It's very weird.
Very weird.
Precious
aesthetic.
Moments Jesus was weird.
Did he have a beard?
You know what? I can't recall now. I'll have to look that up later and get back to you.
Because I feel like all of them had such baby faces, so it'd be really creepy to see like a baby with a beard, like a hirsute baby.
Whenever I think of Precious Moments, I think about Linda Belcher when she's got the little like Precious Moments, and she's like, "If you're not real, then how come I feel this way,
My little babies. I love you. Mwah, mwah.
Oh, so good. All right, Nadia. What before we get into The Wiz, which is what we're talking about, can you tell me a little bit about your connection to The Wizard of Oz in general?
So, okay, anyway, I just remember it being on television a lot.
Yeah.
Especially near the holidays, too. It was always, even though it's not like a Christmas movie or anything.
Right, but yeah, we were talking about this before, or later, depending on how this episode's edited. But yeah, it does seem to have a connection. It's weird when things have that. Like Harry Potter now gets shown a lot around Christmas, and it's like, I know there's Christmas scenes in the first two movies, but I guess magical stuff, I don't know.
Well, I think because every Harry Potter book took place over the course of a school year, they always had Christmas scenes in them.
Right, that's true.
And also, yeah, there's that whimsical winter kind of thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying Happy Christmas or whatever. I also remember, what's that movie? A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
When they go to the mall and there's all those like characters parading from the Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
So they're watching. So there's something Christmas-ish about it, but I don't totally understand why.
It's sort of very Americana.
Okay, yeah.
Did you ever read the book?
I read the first two.
Oh, you read the first two? Okay. I've only read the first one.
They get weird.
Yeah, the first one's kind of weird. They're very inventive, and I mean that in a good way. Not like when you like put on a play and your aunt's like, "That was so inventive," meaning she don't like it. Like it's truly like such great, pure invention. A lot of what you see in the film, the classic 39 film, and elsewhere, are like more polished off, like get rid of the rough edges of like some of the weirder ideas in the book, like the Tin Woodsman was a man, but then cut his own heart out because the witch, I think the witch told him to do it or something, or he was heartbroken.
It's even weirder. He accidentally chopped off one of his limbs.
Right.
Replaced it with a mechanical part, and then for some reason it happened multiple times.
Isn't his axe enchanted by the witch?
Something like that.
But you think after the first two limbs, he'd be like, "There's something going on with me today.
I gotta stop doing this."
Yeah.
There's actually, I watched it on YouTube or something so many years ago. There's actually a short story called The Tin Woodsman where they follow his story.
Uh-huh.
And they actually show like his limbs being chopped off, stuff like that. Like it's dark. It's not as, wonder childlike like the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. It's not so sweet.
Well, Oz itself is such a weird place.
Yes, it is.
Even though like those books are written for children, there is a dark underbelly to it.
For sure. I mean, it's a place that thrives or is run on propaganda.
There's a lot of politics.
Yeah. There's a lot. Yeah. I mean, like, for land that's so like magical, a lot of what we know about it, a lot of what the content is about like how things are divided up and how labor is divided and who rules who. It's really interesting.
And there's also...
And races. I mean, there's tons and tons of different races, and they seem to have a hierarchy.
Oh, they do. And they also, like, they're all segregated, too.
Yeah.
It would be like, oh, I'm in Munchkin Land, which is basically like this neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Not in my backyard.
Not in my backyard. I think there's also, like, I feel like I remember this more from the book. I never seen it actually created in any Oz adaptations, but there was like a porcelain land where like Dorothy goes through, where everybody and everything's made of porcelain for some reason.
Yeah.
Imagine if some stupid ox ran away and just ran through that. It would devastate the whole
I think that
town.
does happen, right? Or at least in
Or her. I think she breaks like a house or something.
Yeah.
Dorothy's very destructive.
In the James Franco movie Oz the Great and Powerful, there's a character, the little China girl, who's from that place.
Oh.
It's the most interesting thing about that film.
I never heard of it.
You never even heard of the movie?
No, when did it come out?
Like mid 2000s, something like that, or 2000.
Was that before or after we learned to hate James Franco?
Definitely before.
Okay.
Definitely before.
This had no cultural impact at all.
Oz the Great and Powerful. No, 2013.
Oh my god.
So yeah. All right, but we're here really to talk about The Wiz, especially the Wiz movie from 1978. How do you feel about The Wiz?
I think it's fascinating because
Yes.
I think it's one of the only like urban fantasy like adaptations of the Wizard of Oz. I think the character design is really bizarre,
Yes.
but the sets are amazing.
Yes.
I thought like the aesthetic was fascinating.
Yeah. And if you're not familiar with it, like, I guess like the easy headline would be like, it's a black Wizard of Oz, or it's a Wizard of Oz with a predominantly black cast.
Well, it's also it's
but
like
it's a lot more than that.
it's like it's Black Wizard of Oz in New York City.
Right. It's super urban. Like there's subways, like the Yellow Brick Road goes over the Brooklyn Bridge and down a subway, and like the Emerald City, when you see the Emerald City, it's actually just a bunch of Chrysler buildings.
Yeah.
Which is such an interesting idea. And there are the weird cabs, and like instead of munchkins, they're munchkins, but they're like made out of graffiti. They like come off
That was
the
terrifying.
wall. There's a lot of really weird imagery in it.
There's also like the storyline I thought was interesting because it's Dorothy lives in Harlem with her aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
And she has an opportunity, and like, you know, this is the fantasy world where a better paying job would be working in a high school instead of like a
kindergarten,
a kindergarten, and like her aunt is like pushing her to go, you know,
Right.
your career, but she was like, yeah, but it's all the way downtown and I never went anywhere. I don't need that.
Yeah.
It's like, so like Dorothy's like whole life story, like not life story, her whole arc is basically leaving Harlem.
Yeah. And
Exploring the boroughs.
that's such an inversion of the traditional story, right? Because Dorothy lived on a farm and was bored by it and wanted something more. And so this Dorothy doesn't. This Dorothy is complacent and afraid of things, and going to Oz kind of gets her out of her shell. It's really an interesting... That's one of the things that I find very fascinating about it, because you got a lot of the same characters, but they have like little differences to it. Like the Scarecrow, who's played by Michael Jackson, who, Lord help me, he's actually good in this movie. He is. I hate to say it. But his character is like, he's not just a scarecrow, he's like gaslit and tortured by crows that like make him like chant the crow the crow motto, like, and like they convince him that he can't walk even though he can walk. It's very weird.
So yeah, it's right. I mean, he's also like made of garbage.
Sure.
That's what's kind of interesting. Like, I sort of get if he's like from an urban environment, but he looks like crap, and
Yeah.
you gotta accept that. But the movie has black characters, has Motown music, like a lot of Motown music, but it's also about being black and like those experiences and how they're kind of doubled in a way. So like the Scarecrow, he's also, what's fascinating is he's actually he pulls like papers out of him, like he's stuffed with like philosophy papers.
That's such an issue. Yes.
And he can't, and even though he has that in him, the crows literally prevent him from learning.
Yes.
And they're gaslighting him to keep him stupid and it's almost, it's kind of like doubled about like black education and being done by the system. And that is such a weird take because the crows are very similar to the crows in
Yes.
Dumbo.
Right.
Except, they're keeping this guy down.
Right. But the crows in Dumbo are like famous for being racist, right? Because they're
like Jim Crow. Literally Jim Crows.
And they're they're like very jazzy. But this is a movie. Well, that's the way. Okay, so the play, which came out in '74, the book is actually written by a white person. The music and lyrics is written by an African American person. But this movie is directed by Sidney Lumet, who's a white person, and written by Joel Schumacher, who's a white person. So, which I feel like nowadays that wouldn't really fly, having so many white people in the production side of things. Mm-hmm. What do you think of some of the performances in the movie?
Oh, I think they're great. I find them fascinating. Like, I think the characters the actors that were hired were great. I think the biggest flaw is Diana Ross.
Yes.
But that's only because she basically inserted herself in this movie. Like, she wanted, and she was like 30 years old.
She's too old for it, for sure.
And that's a little distraction. You have to actually, like, get that out of your head. Like, if you just stop seeing her as 30-something years old, it's actually pretty good. But I think her performance, like, her singing's great. But I think her being an adult and looking like an adult, but trying to act younger, that's a little hard to...
No, I agree with you. And it was originally... the movie was originally supposed to have... Was it Stephanie Mills? Who was the... Yeah, Stephanie Mills, who played Dorothy in the Broadway show. And then they were like, okay, you're going to be in the movie. And then Diana Ross was like, no, put me in it. And kind of like bullied her way in. And she was like, and she used Michael Jackson as like a bargaining chip. She was like, well, if you put me in, I could get Michael Jackson in it.
And this is 1978. He was hot back then.
Yeah. So poor Stephanie Mills got screwed. And the weird thing about Diana Ross is I wouldn't say she's a bad actress in terms of her believability, but I'd say she's not giving a good performance because of her calibration. Like, she's feeling too many things all at once, all the time. She's like acting very hard, and it's kind of like it doesn't really fit what's going on in the movie. She's like having breakdowns, and it's like, all right, well, this is not necessarily what's happening in this scene.
Yeah, kind of. And I don't know, is that her? Was she not directed right?
It could be.
I'm also gonna say something controversial here.
Oh boy.
Okay. Is it the same, worse, or better than Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz? Because I also think Judy Garland... I mean, as a kid, you don't pay attention to this stuff. I feel like as an adult watching the original Wizard of Oz, it's very obvious that she's an adult trying to dumb herself down to a child. Yes. And children aren't necessarily dumb.
I'd say it's definitely worse.
Okay.
It's definitely worse.
Yeah.
Because at least Judy Garland keeps things on a light foot, where Diana Ross is like, she's going through so much. I don't know. It's weird, but I think the character in the show is 24, so she's older anyway. But then she looks even too old for that.
Oh, she looks 37 years old.
Right. Oh no, I think the show she's supposed to be like a teenager. And then they're like, okay, well, we have to, if it's Diana Ross, we got to age it up a little bit. But it still wasn't enough.
No.
I guess it helps that she's supposed to be kind of like a shut-in a little bit. You know, the only person from the show who ends up in the movie is Ted Ross as the lion. Michael Jackson is the Scarecrow, and Nipsey Russell is the Tin Man. I don't know if you know anything about Nipsey Russell, but he was like a comedian, and he did a lot of like limericks. Like, he did, like, funny poems. Like, but poems is maybe not the right word. Just, like, rhyming jokes. He was an odd guy. But I think he's good as the Tin Man. The Tin Man also has a kind of weird story. Like, he was part of, like, a sideshow.
A sideshow that what looks like Coney Island.
Right. Cause
it's like an abandoned Coney Island.
Right, because the Yellow Brick Road goes down the cyclone. The roller coaster at Coney Island. And then he's there with someone he calls Tiny, which is like a big woman.
Yeah, like a huge, like... it's one of those sideshow things of like, wow, it's the fat woman.
Right, but she's also like frozen.
She's like, she's like a mechanical person, but she's like stuck on top of him. But it's also, if you listen to his story, it's kind of like it's almost like he uses women.
Yeah.
And so that's almost like his punishment is like being stuck under a woman for however long he was stuck before they saved him.
But then he cries when he thinks about her, so he has feelings for her, I guess. Teeny or Tiny, whatever her name is.
I don't know, but it was it was like a grotesque interpretation of a overweight woman. It was like ridiculous.
It was. Yes, yeah, no.
It's like something that would not fly now.
Yeah. What do you think's the weirdest image?
Ooh.
Weirdest image.
I would
in a film full of weird images.
I think like everything's weird in this movie. But I will say one of the strangest choices was having the big bad be a factory slave owner and also sitting on a giant toilet.
Sweatshop owner. Oh. Yes, that's really good. I like that too.
But it's also she's on a toilet. And then she gets like flushed down the toilet.
Yes.
Which is like, what?
And
what choice is this?
She's got like a dress made of like a lot of shiny garbage. Like there's like Coke cans and stuff in there. First of all, her song is a banger. What's it called? It's like Don't Nobody Tell Me Nothing Bad. What is it called? It's I have it written down. Don't Nobody Bring Me No Bad News. Don't Nobody Bring Me No. And interestingly enough, she's not like throughout the whole thing, like the way the witch is in the 39 movie. We really don't see her till her one scene at the end.
Yeah, I feel like the story is a little convoluted because it's almost like there isn't one big bad, but it's like
the city itself
has bad stuff. Oh yeah, and
it reminds me also. Have you ever seen Return to Oz?
Yeah,
it's got some of those vibes of like Oz is kind of dangerous,
and also it's falling apart.
Yeah, and everything's alive, but in a malevolent way. Like there's a scene where when they get to Oz, they do something really brilliant, which is like everything's green and everyone's like singing about green is the best. And then the wizard is played by Richard Pryor, who I want to get to, and he's like, green is out now, red's the color, and then everything's red, and then they're all singing about how red is great.
And it's so many people too. It's like an ensemble. Yeah. It's almost like. I mean, this is probably different, but it's almost like Busby Berkeley, like 100 people.
Yeah, and we should also say where they are is the base between the Twin Towers.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's because they have a lot of New York in it. And then he makes it the colors yellow, so which is all like the three colors of a stoplight, but it's also like three colors that are very associated with the Wizard of Oz: emerald, ruby, and yellow, like the Yellow Brick Road. But then it also harkens back to the book where it's not really emerald, it's like a silver city, and everyone has to wear emerald glasses.
Yeah.
So Richard Pryor, like, controlling what they all do is a really interesting idea.
It's all about fashion.
Yes, it is.
Because it's like he's dictating what the fashion is, and the whole song is just about why they wear that color and why they wouldn't wear the next one, and then it keeps changing.
Right.
And they'll be doing the same lyrics, but they'll be talking about how the previous color was like shit, and everyone's wearing the same clothes.
Yeah, it's really cool.
The way everything changes is fascinating.
Yeah. To me, the weirdest image is they're in a subway, and then somebody comes with like, it looks like it's like a burlap mask. So it looks like the fucking Zodiac killer. And they have like these two little, like, I don't know how to even describe this. They look like maybe they're selling puppets or doing like a little puppet show for like change or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like little like slinky puppets, but then they keep growing and growing until they're huge, and they start chasing after the heroes. And it's so fucking scary. Because you're like, scary. What is this? And why do they just grow? And who are you? Are you a agent of the witch? Or is just everything scary? And then the garbage cans in the subway come to life. And then the poles, the pillars come to life. They like rip apart and come to life. It's a lot like the trees in the 39 movie, but even more menacing. It's so scary. When they go to see the wizard, at one point they're like, can we talk to the wizard? And he's like, yeah, Mike, get over here. And it's literally like a walking giant microphone. That's Mike. It's got, again, like pure invention. Like it's not just like, okay, this is a sort of blackwashed version of the Wizard of Oz. Like it is full of pure, just unadulterated, like ideas, which is what I think is very Ozian about it. Because even those ideas don't necessarily always have something to do with the urban, or not.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you could get into like really social commentary, academic stuff.
Sure.
You know, like you could talk about the big bad near the end. You could talk about that, like slave labor.
Yeah.
And that whole thing with Mike and like and also the camera is a giant thing. That could also be about like, I don't know. I feel like I read this somewhere about the entertainment industry and how they sort of use entertainment and fashion as a distraction to the serious issues at hand.
Yeah.
And you know, the subway being a menacing place. Also, something that we didn't bring up. So you talked about earlier about the people popping out like they were the graffiti.
Yeah.
They actually tell Dorothy that they were cursed. So it's almost like they were cursed for doing graffiti. So it's kind of like this commentary on that kind of what do you call it? Like almost not capital punishment, but severe punishment.
Yeah.
For graffiti at the time, which was a big thing.
Yeah.
And also that where they were was a playground.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
That was so inventive, but also scary.
Yeah. No. Yeah. There's absolutely like a menace to everything you see. Even like the Scarecrow, he's not in a cornfield. He's in like a field of trash. Like it's like a dump or something. And his nose is like the wrapper from a Reese's cup.
Yeah.
What did you think of Richard Pryor, his performance as the Wiz, and also the written version of the Wiz? Because it's very different from the Wiz we've seen before. Mm-hmm. This guy is afraid of the world. Like he's like they make him like he's like
well, the Wiz is always a coward.
Agoraphobic. Yeah, but this guy's like an agoraphobic almost.
Right, like he's afraid to go out into the world, and he projects as this terrifying, powerful, like being, but he's living in squalor.
Right, there's a beautiful image of like that big empty room where he's got like this little shitty cot that he's in, and like that's his life.
That was sad.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, seeing Santa at the mall as a kid.
Yeah.
And then when you get older, you see that he lives in a studio apartment.
Right. But then they tie it into Dorothy, like the being afraid of life thing.
I was like, Dorothy, you want to end up like this?
Yeah, right, like this guy.
Oh, the poppy scene. What do you think about that? They reinterpreted the poppy scene like in which I always feel like in the Wizard of Oz we always forget that where they go to the poppy field and they kind of like all fall asleep.
I forget how they do it.
In the Wiz, they do it with drugs and like sexy women. It's like porn.
Yes, right.
It's
that's a very weird. Yeah, that's
it's almost
very
like
weird.
a red light district.
Yes.
But I don't know what you would call that in New York. Like red light is clearly like, you know, like European or something.
Right. No, but it's definitely like, you know, women of the night.
Yeah.
It's definitely sex work. Yeah.
There's a lot in this movie.
There really is a lot. It's full of stuff.
I think it's like just so bizarrely creative. Like it was a box office failure.
Of course, sure.
Because it was also had to be super expensive. Like
I imagine so.
Yeah.
It had to have been for its time.
I would love to see this redone.
I think they did it. Well, they did a live TV version of it not that long ago.
Yeah, like 10 years. I actually saw that. I liked it.
Was it good?
I haven't seen it since, but at the time I thought it was great. But the biggest mistake was that they filmed it with no audience. And I feel like
that's always a bad choice.
I feel like you should, if you're gonna do a live performance, you should have an audience so that they're reacting to the stunts because they have stunts and they have special effects. And Queen Latifah's in that. She's
Who is she?
Oh God, I don't even remember. I just remember seeing her and I was floored. But that was back.
Was she Eveline?
I think so.
Which is their name. It's interesting. We've been talking about all these different versions on the 400th episode. The Wicked Witch doesn't have a name in the book, so these different interpretations name her different things. In this, she's Eveline, right?
Yeah, something like that.
And
Eveline.
And she's Elphaba in Wicked, and she's Theodora in Oz the Great and Powerful. It's always an interesting idea of like what you name her. Let's see. Oh, I gotta say, I think the best song is "Ease On Down the Road."
Oh,
It's awesome. It's really good, and it's just like it's sort of a stand-in for "Follow the Yellow Brick Road" in the 39 musical. Like it's every time they meet a new companion, they sing it again.
I think it's better than Follow the Yellow Brick Road.
It's just a bop. It's just really good. It's just really, really good.
It's like ease on down the road.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Okay, so I don't know if this is just 70s movie magic or if this was done on purpose, but there's a couple of roaches that if you're really looking are like going down the road during the first time they're singing it, and they look real because they're small, and I'm like, was there a roach wrangler or was it just a roach happened to be there on the set? And one of them, like, Diana Ross, like, almost, like, steps on and then it, like, kicks it a little bit and it, like, moves.
Oh, that was definitely real then. That was just...
It's
that
weird.
Was just that was just on the studio stage.
Yes, but...
I'm surprised... now that you mention that, they're like, there really isn't enough roaches in this to be New York.
I know. I think roaches are hard to film.
Well, I mean, there's no character that looks like a roach. There's no place where there's just roaches around attacking them or something.
In Cats, they have the roach people, but, Cats is, Cats is Cats.
Wait, the movie Cats?
I don't know if I imagine that they're also in the show, but the movie, yes, there were, like, roach people in it. Yeah.
I can't believe you watched that.
Yeah, I did. Well, everyone at that time, it was like, you gotta see it. What is this? What even is this?
It's so bad. One thing we didn't talk about, I thought was a really incredible dance number, was when they kill Eveline and all the workers like have to figure themselves out, and then they're like ripping all their like slave clothes off. And
and they're all like naked, kinda. Yeah. They're all in their like tighty whities. I
thought it was a great ensemble dance.
It's got such like modern dance in it too. Like a lot of like the movements or stuff are super like sort of like, I don't know, liquid.
Yeah. I feel like, actually, I didn't even think about this until just now, but I love musicals when they have like a huge like amount of dancers doing a number. Yeah. And they do this in that movie, this movie a lot, and I feel like it's done, the choreography is excellent.
Yeah, I agree.
I just thought the dances are great. The music's great. I think even the worst songs are still better than some of the best songs in other musicals.
Yeah, it's just really good. And whether or not you like have any connection to Wizard of Oz, I think it's just a fascinating movie. I would love to see it like at midnight in a theater. Like I feel like it'd be a great midnight movie. It's got that weirdness to it. It's got those vibes. I even like that. Like before she gets to Oz, it's a snowstorm. Like I don't know, I like that a lot too.
I was just thinking of that because the effect was interesting.
Yeah,
it was kind of scary. Like I feel like I think I mentioned this earlier. Like Oz could be scary, but I feel like this movie kind of leans a little bit more to the scary than the whimsical.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's definitely a dark place.
Absolutely. Well, Nadia, thank you so much for being here on the 400th episode, and thank you for contributing to other episodes as well.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here, and I'm glad I got you to watch this movie.
I did. I had seen it once before, many years ago, and I think I was indifferent to it. But when I watched it again recently, I was like, wow, this is really something. There's a lot to chew on here. Yeah, I would love to see this either redone as a movie or even like a mini series. Like I would watch like a 2 or 3 part like TV movie about this. But you got to keep it weird. Oh yeah, it would stay weird. Yeah. But just maybe better special effects and maybe not a Dorothy who's halfway to almost to retirement. 52 years old. Yeah. Guys, I had a dream, and you were there, and Janine, you were there. It was a dream that I did 400 episodes of a podcast that barely anyone listened to. It was a nightmare, really. Yes. Who would we be? Who are we? Oh, you're Bert
You're-
Law. Who are you playing her? Who would we? I mean,
You're Dorothy.
if you were Hickory, Zeke, and Hunk. I don't know.
Boy, was he.
I think Jen is clearly the Dorothy.
Well, I'd say that, yes.
Yeah. That's.
Always scared.
Are you happy about that?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. I
And
feel
you
like it
don't
fits
even
you.
try to throw an apple at her. She'll lose her shit.
Who? I don't. Do you see Janine as the lion?
Oh, I see you as the lion. Oh, that's
I
so
see that.
funny.
I see that too.
I don't really see a good.
1-to-1.
Yeah. But this podcast is my farm, and you are my farm hands. Now have some crawlers on this hot day. Nothing like crawlers on a.
Your Uncle Henry.
You're Uncle Henry. You're
am.
the mean teacher.
That's great.
I'm Uncle Henry. I'm waiting for the second it turns 5 o'clock so I can have a fucking drink.
He wasn't waiting till 5.
Oh my god.
But so what we're talking about, this whole episode has been about Oz and a hugely important part of pop culture. But what we're talking about right now is the infamous 1939 MGM musical film, The Wizard of Oz. I love Uncle Henry's smile when Aunt Em is like, I would tell you what I think. I've waited 23 years to tell you what I think of you, and
Being a good Christian
being a good Christian woman, I won't. I love his smile because he knows that means she just called her a cunt.
Yeah.
In Christian woman.
She eats with that line in that transatlantic accent, like
That's right.
being a Christian woman.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah, I think we should just talk about this because, I mean, who the fuck hasn't seen The Wizard of Oz? And I don't think we don't need to get in, we don't need to, like, you know, tackle this subject and be the last word on it. I think we should just talk about it and what we love about it, what we don't like about it, what we've, you know, what sticks out at us. I mean, I watched it again today. What was it, the 100th time? More than that? You know, I'm trying to... the two movies I've probably seen more than anything of Ghostbusters and the original Star Wars. Mm-hmm. But Wizard of Oz might be up there because I definitely saw Wizard of Oz before I saw those other two movies. Mm-hmm. And me and Anthony are brothers. That's why we have the same last name. And Wizard of Oz was a big thing in our family, but maybe in a lot of families. Mm-hmm. I want to know everyone's history with the Wizard of Oz. Let's start with you, Anthony. Wait, there's an interloper.
Oh, I see.
Uh-oh.
We see him.
Uh-oh, we see him.
Aren't you watching Dogman?
Oh,
no.
It's taking a long time to load.
Well, I was going to say, elephant in the room. Shouldn't we have Bill here to be our Megan McCain at this table?
Oh, yeah.
Because
I know.
Bill
It's
famously
you.
hates The Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz, that's right.
See, I didn't know that about Bill. Yeah, have him come down later and fucking...
Just
Maybe Elizabeth
ruin it
Hasselbeck.
all. Just be like, well,
Yeah,
I
let's...
feel like my viewpoints are not being addressed.
No, I'd love to hear his incorrect viewpoints.
Well, he did it during the 300th episode. I think we talked about it. Or maybe during the hot takes.
Hot takes. Right,
I
right.
can tell you his main points. He doesn't like it. He just flat out. I mean, that's subjective, right? Like, he just doesn't like it. But he doesn't like that it has dream logic, which it's supposed to be a dream. And he's just like, now they're here. Now they're there. It's like, who cares? Like, they're going
Who cares?
Is he just looking for reasons to not like it? He thinks it's cool? Is it edgelordy?
No, he
So it's not
genuinely
The
doesn't
Crow.
like it. Yeah. Oh, well, you know, if he could have been watching The Crow. Like, as a child, if it was on,
Yeah.
it's like, well, where's The Crow? We should always be asking about The Crow.
Yeah. This movie has a raven playing a crow. Because ravens
That's
are
part
bigger.
of the problem. But
Yeah.
I think that happened in The Crow as well. In that Crow episode.
Yes,
you
yes.
talk about
Ravens
how it
often
was
play
ravens.
crows because crows are
Well,
small.
Did you know that a
Inappropriate.
hawk call is what we consider an eagle call? Because eagles don't really make that
right.
noise.
Yeah,
but it's a
yeah.
red-tailed hawk.
It
Oh.
doesn't sound as nice.
Eagle calls like, hey, get out of my country. Oh. What's our you know what, Jen, let's start with you. What's your history with the Wizard of Oz?
We're a big musical family.
Mm-hmm.
So
You think you guys like the Von Traps?
no,
Yeah.
might be. Yeah. So every musical's been playing in my house forever. And yeah, The Wizard of Oz was just on the lineup. But I fell in love with it I think that and Gypsy were probably the two biggest ones.
You can't say that word.
I'm so sorry. But yeah.
Yeah. Did you have toys and stuff of it as a kid?
Yes.
Did you dress as Dorothy?
Oh, right. Yes. My aunt worked for Time Warner.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she was working there during the 25th or the 50th.
There's been a lot
When
of
would
them.
we have been little?
50th.
I would have been.
50th?
Okay. Yes.
Was 50th the VHS we all had? The big...
The one with the little book in it?
Yes.
We have 2 copies of that.
Nice.
With all the pages ripped out. That was my fault.
Sure.
And
Classic kid.
yeah, both of them. She got a second one, ripped those pages out too.
Yeah.
No, I would have
But-
killed you.
I know.
The way they would be dead.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They know. I'm looking at you right now. Don't even think about it.
And I think there was I like vaguely remember like a party. Some like they had people dress up because it was a big thing. She worked for like the CEO of Time Warner, so she was really high up. And yeah, I had a Dorothy doll that was like the middle was like plushy, but the head and feet were plastic.
Oh,
I don't know
Okay,
if you
I
guys
remember that.
remember that.
Pee Wee Herman dolls like that.
Uh-huh,
It's like
uh-huh.
a soft body, but
Uh-huh.
hard hands and feet and head.
And now every year my sister gets me something Wizard of Oz.
Oh,
So it
Yeah.
just grows.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But big in my house. Really big.
Okay. Very good. Janine, what's your history with the Wizard of Oz?
I had a bootleg VHS, but not one that we bought, like one that we taped off the television.
Sure. Okay.
But
That's not
we
bad.
are not a big Wizard of Oz household. Like growing up, my mom's favorite movie is Gone with the Wind. So I kind of feel like
Yeah.
you went two ways, like one of two ways. You were
Interesting.
either into Wizard of Oz or you were into Gone with the Wind, and
And both have the same director and came out in the same year.
that's crazy.
But also both have multiple directors.
That's wild.
It was the original Barbenheimer.
Barbie, it's true.
Yeah.
It really was. So my mom's a huge Gone with the Wind fan,
And
we
if I remember a conversation I had with your mother, she doesn't care that much about the acting or story. It's more the politics that she's
so into the politics. You know, she's like a real.
She says things like, "This is what it was. This was
This
how
is
it
what,
used to be.
yeah,
this
how
was
it
the
used
good old
to be.
days."
We loved it, and she's an immigrant, so that's really weird. So she, I don't know how much you guys remember the Franklin Mint.
Yes.
Franklin Mint. Okay, so the Franklin Mint, it was probably my favorite store when I was 7 years old. And man, oh man, did those salespeople hate to see me coming, because as a child in a store that is filled with like precious breakable things.
I didn't know it
And
was a store.
It was
I
a
just-
store
I
in the
remember there's
mall,
a
and it was my favorite
It was the
frickin'
one
store.
on the
Yeah.
corner, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it was
kind
like
of
a corner
where
area,
Applebee's-
and they had a lot of Wizard of Oz
Yes,
stuff
yes,
there
yes.
that I
Oh,
absolutely
yeah.
loved to look at. My
Me
mom
too.
had everything that they had for Gone with the Wind. So
Wow.
like when they came out with a new piece for Gone with the Wind, that's what she was getting for her birthday or Christmas, whatever was coming up. So, and she still has like a lot of those pieces. She has every character. It's like action figures for adults, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you know, like little ceramic things. She has all the dishes, like.
Oh, me too.
They had a lot of dishes
Wizard
for
of Oz,
they have Wizard of Oz dishes, and Gone with the Wind and Wizard of Oz were like the two big ones that they had. So I loved to look at the Wizard of Oz stuff, and I was always like, "Can we get a Wizard of Oz thing?" Because I preferred that
Yeah.
movie.
Well,
But-
any kid would.
Yeah,
prefer
right.
that movie.
To Gone with the Wind, but I just remember watching it. Like whenever it would be on TV and it being like 6 hours long because it's just like so many commercials.
Right.
and- Yeah.
Yes, TNT would like stretch it
yeah,
for a
TNT.
weekend.
You'd watch it for like 4 minutes and then it would be like another set of commercials.
Yeah.
Man. But yeah, those are my I never dressed up as Dorothy. I also never dressed up as Scarlett O'Hara. So
Okay.
Actually that's not true. I did dress up as like a Southern Belle one year.
Wow.
So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, so you were really in two camps. And then someone made this point recently where they said that if, sort of similarly, like you were either a Christmas Story kid or you were a Santa Claus movie kid. And like you either watched one or the other, even though they're not at the same time exactly,
Interesting.
but it was like those, you either did one or the other. And I was like, that's so true. I never watched Christmas Story and I only watched Santa Claus.
Me too.
And a bunch of my friends who love Christmas Story were like, I never watched Santa Claus growing up.
I always thought it was you were a Christmas Story house or you were a National Lampoon's Christmas
Oh, that's
Vacation
interesting.
house.
I was
Yeah.
neither.
Yeah,
That's-
same.
We were a
That's
Christmas
interesting.
Story
Okay.
house for sure.
Yeah, but we also maybe it's our age or well, you and Anthony are the same age, right?
Yeah.
Because we were a Christmas Story house, but then I remember Santa was coming out and seeing it in the theater. so it wasn't like both were ubiquitous. But you're circling around something interesting, which is like Wizard of Oz has some kind of holiday connection. Like I think it was shown on Thanksgiving a lot.
I think you're right. Yeah, I feel like they always try to like attach it to some holiday. I feel like they do this with the Harry Potter series as well. It's not like clearly attached to a holiday, but they're like, we're showing it at Halloween or Christmas or whatever.
Well, in A Christmas Story, there's the scene where the Wizard of Oz characters walk by, right?
That's right.
He's like,
in the mall, in the parade.
Yeah. And then the dad is like, "See you in Oz, folks."
Yeah. Well, Anthony, what's your history with the Wizard of Oz?
So it's the reason I'm gay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
That goes without saying. No, I similar to all of you. I think that we are of the age where we were really, really small when the 50th anniversary happened, and there was like there was a big Wizard of Oz renaissance, and there was a new cartoon series, and there was that we watched on Saturday mornings, and then there were toys that were new, and
there was a big push in the 90s. There was a push because those toys were new. That HBO cartoon,
Full House, always talked about.
Yes.
Full House.
They have that whole episode.
Show has an episode where they're doing Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Like it's so common.
But Full House had that episode where like they were supposed to watch it on TV, and then they acted out. Do you remember that? Joey does the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you could tell he was like, that was in his act. And he was like, let me just do
Can
it.
I just do it for the show?
Yeah. And Alanis Morissette was there.
he did so much cocaine before that.
Yeah.
What I want to say is, and I don't know if this experience is unique to me, but I feel like Wizard of Oz is so much a part of my DNA that I do not remember the first time I ever saw it. I just
Same.
like I feel like I saw it before I was capable of forming long-term memories. So like I don't remember a time when I wasn't into the Wizard of Oz because I saw it so young.
Because I think it's such a common movie to show children. I think like
For sure.
Even before we have this thing of like millennials try to like show their kids everything that they like that was sort of the blueprint for that, right? Like where our parents' generation was like, well, what movie are we going to show them? Oh, we should show them Wizard of Oz. Like my kids don't remember watching it. I showed it to them like a couple of years ago. Like they have zero memory of it, but they're aware of it. Like it's in them somewhere.
Well, why do you guys think that is? Like, obviously, it's good, right? I mean, it's still very good. It holds up. It's actually funny. I think a lot of its humor still works. But there's other things that are good from that era of Hollywood that do not persist. Is it because it was played on TV? Is it because it's mentioned a lot? And I'm not trying to like pin down like that there's a causal answer or anything, but it's just, I think, fascinating to me because you show another film from 1939 to a kid now and they will hate it. No matter what it is.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
I think parents, it's sort of a timeless quality. I think parents are always desperate to engage their children in some way so they can have a moment's peace. So Wizard of Oz really nails this sweet spot of being something that isn't like an animated movie that's clearly for children.
Right.
But it's something that like everyone can enjoy. It's almost like the first family film, even though I'm sure there were plenty of family films made prior to it, but it seems like it really nailed that audience of like everyone's gonna have a good time, the kids are gonna love it, the parents are gonna enjoy it too. It's really well made,
Right.
And so
I have a controversial hot take.
Oh, okay.
This film comes out 2 years after Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I see some of that in this. And supposedly Disney was very like not jealous, but like he always saw it as a state. Like he was like, we should have made that. Why didn't we make that?
Well, something I was going to bring up in our Oz the Great and Powerful episode was that they tried to buy the rights immediately after making Snow White because that was going to be their next animated feature. They wanted to do Wizard of Oz as their second movie, and they couldn't get the rights. So then they bought some other set of rights, so like the tales, like the extended tales, and they made like shorts, or they were planning to making shorts of Wizard of Oz. Yeah, so he's always, Disney himself loves Wizard of Oz and wanted to make that his like next thing, but he couldn't get it. So it's like a real sore spot for Disney.
Yeah, and I do think if you are familiar with like the behind the scenes stuff, they went through many iterations of like what the witch would look like, what Dorothy should look like, and there was a lot of changes that were made. And one of the early costume choices and designs for the witch was that she was like glamorous and beautiful, and that was a direct ripoff of Snow White. So I think what you were saying originally is that like you see some of Snow White in the Wizard of Oz, right? Yeah. That would be one iteration also.
There's also a cameo, an audio cameo of the voice of Snow White during Tin Man's song, Romeo. Yeah. I hear a beat. Sweet. Oh, by the way, I should say, being the 400th episode, every episode of PCMC is now on YouTube. YouTube used to be harder to put. They had a podcast system, but basically you had to make a video of every podcast, and that was arduous. So I didn't go back to the beginning. But now they've got like a one-click, just like any other thing. You just put in the RSS feed, and then it just makes videos of everything. So now all of PCMC, but depending on what territory you're in, you might not be able to hear some parts of the first 80 or so because we used to use copyrighted material then. And as they were uploading, I was getting email after email from like this, and it would say like the song that's in it, like this is like, you know. So they're there, but they might be a little like the sound might drop off or not. But basically, it's all there.
Okay. You know what I just learned? A lot of people make a living challenging copywritten music on YouTube, even if they don't hold the copyright, and they'll get residuals, they'll get money from it. Wow. And so it's like an industry of people like scammers.
Scumbags.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But so circling around this, Jen, I want to know your opinion. Like, you're also a Disney person, right? Mm-hmm. This is like the Disney movie that isn't a Disney movie.
Well, I was gonna say, like, it's like a live action. It's got everything. It's got it's parts of it are scary, parts of it are like beautiful. Yeah. So yeah.
It's got the typical thing that becomes typical of Disney of like the sidekicks, the fun sidekick people. Yeah. It's got the Technicolor, I think, really has a cartoonish vibe to it.
There's no parents.
Yes.
It's not a traditional family.
Yeah. You're teach English, Anthony, and you also have a master's degree in English, right? I remember one time you were telling me something like Wizard of Oz is the only American fairy tale.
Yeah, I mean it's been called that. Not that it's the only one, but it is our American. It is like our fairy tale as a nation, right? And if you think about it, like it is. It was modeled, I believe, to be like sort of like the American response to Alice in Wonderland.
Right, it's a lot like that. Too.
It is, but like if you think about the fact that she's a farm girl, she's from Kansas, she's whisked off to this place, she wants to go back home. It's just like a very American story. The entire time she's like, "Get me back to America," which is like we were watching. We're like, "You're in Oz. Like, why do you want to go back to that shitty farm?"
Yeah, the Dust Bowl.
But during
back to God's country,
right? No, literally,
the original
yeah. But she's like, "Get me back to like a life of hard work and sacrifice on the Western frontier."
Things being shitty. Yeah, I'm rereading.
Oh, so sorry. You just made me realize, though, like, it also perpetuates this idea that you'll get nothing for free because the thing he's giving you is not real. So, like, you got to work for it. You better get back there and work for it.
Yeah, I kind of would love to suss out what the politics are. And I know Baum has said, like, there's no politics in it. Which
Wasn't it, like, gold standard?
Like, what are we...
That was made up by
our
history professor.
Oh yeah, okay, but that's fine too.
It's
like
a reading of it.
Yeah, like what's the main reading of it? Because I'm too dumb to get it. Like I know some things being said. Yeah.
Wasn't he like a really big feminist and like fought for women's suffrage?
His mother-in-law was a suffragist.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But I thought he wrote.
You mean the suffragettes?
Listen, I've seen suffragists. I think he did too. Yeah.
Right, in The Dreamer of Oz, Rue McClanahan from Golden Girls plays his mother-in-law, and he imagines her as the Wicked Witch. But again,
it's not very sympathetic.
Yeah, it's not very sympathetic. But no, because doesn't one of the books have like a female revolt in it?
Yeah, the second book has a female revolt where there's like an all-girl army that takes over Oz.
Woke bullshit. Go woke, go broke in 1902 or whatever the fuck.
Literally, it was 1902, I think.
Yeah.
And they oust the Scarecrow from power. But they're
sound familiar?
They are characterized as silly.
Sure.
And you know, like feather-brained, and the scheme doesn't go well. But he was envisioning it for the stage, and in his mind, he was like, "Oh, these will be the chorus girls."
Oh, right, okay, right. He had L. Frank Baum had a lot of aspirations. Like the earliest Oz films are films that like very short, like black and white films and silent films that he made. Like around the same time like Edison's making movies, like real early on.
They're awful.
Right. Well, this is back when there's almost very little narrativity happening. You've got in France, Georges Méliès starts to put some narrativity in things like Trip to the Moon and stuff. And then in the East Coast, you got Alice Guy Blaché is doing it. But at that point, you didn't think of movies as telling you stories. So from what I remember of seeing them, it would be just us. Each was a scene from a book.
Well, I think we talked about this a little bit on one episode where my obsession was Oz over the summer, and how I was reading up on it. And one thing that a lot of people don't know is the 1939 film, even though now it's considered to be the definitive musical version of The Wizard of Oz, way prior to that, there was a very, very successful stage musical that he had his hand in. That just is kind of lost to time.
So none of that music is anywhere.
None. They started from scratch for the 1939 one.
Yeah. That's kind of Bram Stoker and Dracula.
Yeah.
Because
he was
those were the movies of the time. Bram Stoker was a theatrical producer
manager,
and agent.
Yeah.
So even though he wrote it as a book, he always was thinking of it as Dracula's going to be a stage show, and it was.
I would love to look at literary criticism of the time to see, because so much complaining about literature now is it feels like it's been written for TV, or it's clearly being written with the screenplay in mind. Yeah. Yeah. And so I wonder if that was a complaint in literature at the time. They're writing it for the vaudeville stage. What a...
Sure,
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe you do. But, what was the critical reception to the books? I mean, he made, 14 of them, right? I imagine around, 3 or 4 people all right, enough of this shit.
They sold really, really well. They were really, really popular with children. I have to rewatch The Dreamer of Oz, or maybe do some more reading, because I'm not sure how accurate The Dreamer of Oz is.
I'm sure it's not at all.
I get the sense, or I feel like I remember reading that he always wanted to do different things, but that's where his bread was buttered, was the Oz books, because he knew if he published one, it was going to sell a million copies.
Sell a lot,
So he kept going back to that well, even though he kind of a few times tried to end it. And end Dorothy's story, and then each one begins with a letter from him to the children saying I've decided, let's see what our friends in Oz are doing.
My house needs a new addition.
Exactly.
We're redoing the porch.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. He really, I think, almost wanted to be like a Disney type. He was just a creative.
Yeah. So the film begins with an epigraph, which I always found interestingly written. For nearly 40 years, this story has given faithful service to the young in heart, and time has been powerless to put its kindly philosophy out of fashion. To those of you who have been faithful to it in return, and to the young in heart, we dedicate this picture. It's a little, I don't know. Am I wrong? There's something weirdly clunky about it. It's also weird. It's the rare film that congratulates you for watching it.
I think it's what you're picking up on that maybe is weird. Is I feel like it's people have tried to put this movie down, but it just keeps rising to the top.
Yeah.
It's got it's almost like MAGA. They keep counting us out, but we keep coming back.
It feels a little subtweety.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what's the line? It's despite their
Right. Yeah. To those who have, time has been powerless to put its kindly philosophy out of fashion. But it's from the first frame. I think it's entirely captivating and charming.
I always ignored this epigraph. I'm like, I don't remember the beginning of this movie at all.
But you do remember in the end when it says the M-word singers as the Munchkins? No?
Plain and clear.
You don't.
And
Yeah.
at the bottom.
Yeah, it's like I think it might be the last title card.
it's rough.
The M-word singers as the Munchkins, which is like they're not these are all people who are cast. They're not the M-word singers. Like if you're gonna make up a thing about them, just call them say the Munchkins as themselves or whatever, or just say like many people as the Munchkins. Like the M-word sing like it was gonna be a thing where they were gonna go on the road. The M-word singers, and of course the M-word is mother. I can't. There are children here. This is our family episode. For 400 on, we're going to be about family.
He doesn't know that word. Don't teach him that word. What are you doing? Aren't you watching Dogman?
No,
Why not?
I don't know.
Go upstairs. What's that? What's that about? Henry.
I don't really like Dogman.
What?
Well, not
The Easter Bunny brought you Dogman books. What are you talking about?
I like the books, but not the
Oh, one of us.
Yeah.
All right.
Fair.
Go upstairs. Go on. Come on. Oh.
Oh.
I can't wait
Don't forget to put me on the podcast.
All right.
We will not.
We won't.
What's your favorite fake thing about this movie? Like rumor?
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the biggest one, of course, would be the M word who hangs himself.
Oh my god. We can say little person after.
Yeah.
I think they prefer
Little
person.
person,
as a
yeah.
term, or
Yeah,
just
yeah.
their name usually. But
no. They like to be referred
to be
pluralized. Oz is populated with like wild birds and like emus or whatever the fuck, and some such bird with a very long neck in the background of when they. Is it after they meet the Tin Man? Before the lion?
It's its wing. Because I remember
Okay.
when we first got a DVD and the DVD player
Yeah.
zoomed in, and that was the first thing we did. We
Sure,
zoomed
sure.
all the way in, and we were like, oh, it's a bird.
It's a bird's wing.
It's a bird's wing. It's
Right.
stretching.
But people used
Yeah.
to say it was a person hanging themselves,
right.
which is a very if you have any understanding of how a film is made, like.
Like, wouldn't an editor be like, "Oh yeah, that's somebody's hanging there. Let's cut that."
Yeah. Also, someone would be like, "Hey, what's going on? Hey, cut! Get out of it! What are you doing back there?"
What's that guy doing?
Right. Like that's not at all how
We
movies
borrowed
are
him
made.
from another studio, and he's here killing himself.
You're killing himself.
Shudder has a great series called Cursed Films, and what's great is like even though it's called that and it's kind of like sold to you as that way, it's actually more about debunking things. It doesn't buy into shit. And they go to kooks, and there's like in that episode, me and Jen watch it. There's one kook who's like, "No, that they added that to the Blu-ray. They're lying to you. The original VHS has the real person hanging." So some people don't give it up.
See his eyes.
You can see his soul leave his body. I think my favorite fake thing, and because I saw it a lot on TikTok after Wicked, and people were revisiting the original film, is this bullshit that the snow was asbestos.
Oh yeah.
And so many people being like, "Did you know?" And then I mostly saw it stitched with other people, including like the Oz historian. I don't remember her name. The Ozlog lady, yeah. Who was like,
Love
"Yeah,
her.
that's not true."
It's Gypsum. She
Yeah.
said it a million times.
Yeah, and she's like, "I'm so tired of this
Keep saying
one."
that word.
So that's my favorite one, but I feel like there are others.
More interesting is to talk about why, right? Like, what is it about older films where we are obsessed with things like that? Like, oh, it's cursed or something. Because one thing that people focus on a lot, too, which is a true thing, which is Margaret Hamilton got burned.
Also, the original Tin Man's
Toxic.
had silver powder, and
people,
he
like,
almost died.
Yeah.
and then missed out on being in the most
Yeah,
iconic
but he
film of
did
all
end
time.
up being Jed Clampett from Beverly Hillbillies.
I think it has to do with, and this kind of goes back to what we were saying before about like why our parents showed us this film. I think before VHS, there were movies that were just shown on TV a lot that whenever they were shown, they got high ratings because they were just very popular. Wizard of Oz was one of them. And I think there's something about the fact that like you would only see this thing on TV and you couldn't rewind it or zoom in or anything, that like sort of like these rumors would spread and kind of stick, like these legends. So I think that's part of it. And then I also, to bridge it back to before, I think that's part of why our parents in the late 80s, early 90s were like, let's show the kids the Wizard of Oz, because they grew up like watching it on TV, like, oh, it's a treat, the Wizard of Oz is on.
It's an event.
Right. So they're like, oh, now I can finally play it at home when I want to. Let me share it with my kid.
Yeah. Our father has a sad story about they had a black and white TV.
It's the saddest. He always tells it.
So he didn't know that it goes from black and white to color
But that's a
until
common
he saw it
story.
somewhere else.
Yeah, that is
A lot
common
of people
story.
say that.
He's like,
Yeah.
I didn't know till I was 30 years old, or something like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, this is stupid. This has nothing to do with Wizard of Oz, but I always wondered how people knew how Lucy had red hair.
Me too. She was
I
blonde.
was like, she was blonde. She was obviously a blonde.
Yeah.
And then when I kept seeing like merch with her with red hair, I'm like, who did this? They got it wrong, obviously.
Maybe magazines, maybe?
I guess.
Well,
Or like if she'd be
on the show, they call her a redhead all the time, and I
Yeah,
always be like,
okay.
that lady's blonde.
This is obviously a blonde woman. I don't know why
Interesting.
any of you can't see this.
Interesting.
Another thing, this isn't like a mistake, but I think people incorrectly assume that the beginning is straight black and white and not sepia.
Yes.
And I feel like there are, unless I'm imagining this, I feel like there have been changes to the print where they've gone back over the original Technicolor and have adjusted it to make it look more black and white.
There was some version at some point that did that.
Yeah.
But now, like the one that today I watched on HBO Max, and it was gorgeous. And I mean, it was as high definition as I've ever seen it. I mean, I could see like Judy Garland's like freckles.
You can see the coke on her.
I could see. Oh, not at that point. Not yet. How dare you? That's another rumor, because which is funny because it's like, do you have eyes? People be like, she was 10 years old when they made that. She's 16. She's 16, so she's becoming a woman. She's not a little kid. She's not 30. But people equate the character with her.
How old is she supposed to be in the books?
She's like a little girl.
She's
a little child.
yeah.
Supposed to like return to Oz, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that could also be because it was supposed to be Shirley Temple, right? Wasn't it supposed to be originally?
is that a
And she
rumor or
was
is that
like
true?
10. No, that was true.
That was true.
I feel like unless I'm mistaken,
But
the
maybe
Shirley-
they're getting the ages wrong because of Shirley Temple.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I think when it was supposed
To be Disney's production, Disney was in talks. Like you said, it was supposed to be their second movie. I think that was like where Shirley Temple's name got attached to it, unless I'm mistaken. Unless did MGM originally want Shirley Temple?
I thought they did, but she couldn't sing as well. And that's why they went with Judy Garland. But I feel like she all but had it.
I mean, when you think about like that point, like who's like the biggest child
Right.
little girl star? Like, of course it would be her.
And there's not really that much dancing in it. She's a
Right,
great dancer,
right.
but I mean,
Yeah.
you've heard Animal Crackers or
Right.
whatever the next song is. It's
Uh-huh.
shrill.
Yeah.
disgusting.
And yeah.
In my soup? Get the fuck out of here with that.
What's your favorite song, everybody? I'll come right out of the gate, and maybe it's a wild card. I really like the Merry Old Land of Oz. Something about that melody and just all the different parts. I love the Oz people being like, rub hair, rub. like I'm like, what is Oz? Is this, they call it a city?
They're such socialists.
Too. They're like, we work for an hour, and that hour is our lunch break.
Yeah. By the way, I was like 41 before I put that math together. Like, oh, they don't work at all. How silly.
Great. Well, listen, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Well, that goes back to that American thing. She was like, get me out of this commie hellhole. Yeah.
That is my favorite look of hers, though. When
Yeah,
she
yeah,
comes
yeah.
out of the salon,
She eats.
I love that look.
Yeah. She looks great.
Also love the lion after that, when he's got the perm.
Yes. Oh,
And he says he has a perm. He goes, I got a perm for this.
yeah.
That's
so
I
queer.
think my favorite song now is the Lions. If I
King
were
of the
King of the
Forest?
Forest.
Yes.
What if I were a real edgelord and I'm like, my favorite song's the Jitterbug. It was cut.
Fuck off.
I will tell you that as a child, I regularly fast forwarded through Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Wow, really?
Wow.
Yeah, boring.
Interesting.
It got the cheer up Charlie treatment from me.
Oh wow! No!
Wow,
That is so. Oh my god!
Crazy. First of all, can we talk about how good a boy Toto is during that song?
So good.
He sits there and then he gives his paw. He's so good. He's such a pro.
He's an
He's
ally.
such a good actor in it, and he's so good in that scene. He really holds the thing together. Yeah, Jen.
Well, now I want to jump in
Yeah.
because my favorite song is the Tin Man song, and it's because of Toto.
Yeah.
Because on the little, he's by the Tin Man the whole time, being a good boy, and then once he does the little toot toot, he's out. He's
Yeah, you
scared.
see him get scared.
He's scared and he's out, and it's my favorite thing to watch.
Yeah. I also love when he escapes the witch's castle and the Winkies are after him and he jumps over the drawbridge and he's like, I'm out of here.
He was also on so many pills.
Oh, come on.
So many Totos died in the production of the film.
My favorite detail from The Wizard of Oz that I didn't pick up on until I was an adult is that when they go to kill the witch, the Scarecrow has a full gun in his hand.
He has a gun. He has a
He
pistol.
has, yeah.
in his hand. It's
He
so
has a
insane.
6-shooter.
It's so funny.
Yeah, but funnily, he doesn't hold it with the tree. He just holds it very limply.
It's hysterical. When we watched it with the boys, it's the first time I'd seen it in a really long time. I was like, how did I forget he had a whole ass gun? It's so funny.
I know, because it's not, there's no, like, focus on it.
No.
And they all have weapons,
Yeah.
right?
But it's like clubs and bats and stuff.
And then a gun.
it goes to the
So
silver
Oz,
gun.
so there's a Smith & Wesson factory in Oz.
Or, I mean, did she bring it? Like, dude, it's the
brought
only
it.
gun
Tin
we've
Man.
ever seen.
It's all made out of Tin Man
It could be
material.
tin.
It's all the same material as the Tin Man.
Ooh. Interesting.
favorite
He
song?
made it from his back. Like-
What's your favorite song?
I like the Munchkinland songs. I like
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
That bunch of songs there.
Who do you prefer, the Lollipop?
I
League
love the
or
Lollipop
or the
Guilds. They're
Lollipop
guilds.
Guild and
They work.
Who are the boys? What are they?
That's the lollipop.
That's
Oh, the
the-
boys are
yeah, they
Lollipop
give a
Guild,
little
and the
kick.
girls are the Lullaby.
The Lullaby
League.
League. That's
Yes.
right. I love the coroner.
Yeah, yeah,
Ah.
yeah.
Yeah, great stuff.
They were so ready for her to die. It's crazy. I mean, when you see it a million times and you know it's coming, you think differently about it. But it's crazy that like she dies and they're like, "Fuck yeah, let's throw a party." And then the Wicked Witch of the West shows up and they're like, "We didn't expect this." Like you knew she was out
All
here.
right.
And Glinda's like, "She's worse than the other one." It's
By
like,
the way,
so what was this party about?
Okay. In adulthood, I really actually sympathize with the Wicked Witch of the West because when she shows up and she's like, "You guys killed my sister," straight
Yeah.
like,
And you're having a party
and you're
about
having
it.
a party, and also you took her clothes. Like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with
Oh
you?
my God,
she's
but-
been dead for 5 minutes. She's still warm.
But no, it's so much dirtier than that. Glinda plays her so dirty. Glinda's like, "Oh, don't forget the shoes."
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
she
she
says,
goes
"Don't
over
forget
to
the
the
shoes."
shoes.
Whoa.
And then they disappear. And she's like, "What the fuck?" And she's like, "Nah, they're on the girl now." Fuck
And
you.
then the Wicked Witch, I feel, is so sympathetic in that moment. She's like, "Give him to me. I have no quarrel with
Right,
you.
she
Like,
would-
I
there
don't
would be
have
no
an
movie.
issue with you.
She would
just
leave.
give me the shoes." And then the first person she meets, Glinda, is like, "Don't listen to her. Listen to me."
Yeah, she would leave. She'd be like, "Thank you for the shoes. I'm leaving."
Thanks so much. Bye, guys. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want any trouble.
Also, Glinda's so nasty. First
She's
of
so
all,
nasty.
she's so nasty. She asks her if she's a good
The
witch or a
shade
bad
of it all.
witch, and then not but a minute later says only bad witches are
Are
ugly.
you a good witch or a bad witch? Because you're looking kind of mid today. Dude. I can't really tell.
And she's so shady that she's like, "Take this road to the wizard. Maybe
Oh,
I'll
you
send
could
you
have
home."
gotten there whenever
Although
you wanted.
I'm the
she
one who
was
knows you could just
she's
click your
just
heels.
sitting back like Andy Cohen and watching it all play out. Like
Stunt
she
queen.
is just setting up the chessboard and like, well, let's see how it happens. She's always drunk. She's always drunk. What? She just comes in on her rosé bubble, and she's like, I feel like she woke up and chose a mess. Oh my god! No, I do always feel so bad for the Wicked Witch. And she's like, just give me the shoes. I don't care. Like, I don't care about you. I don't want to hurt you. We're fine. But I did want to say there's that famous like newspaper like TV guide summary of
Oh,
Wizard
yeah.
of Oz where it's like girl lands in Oz, kills first person she meets.
Oh, and then she's like, and is
Teams
on
up
teams up with those on a quest to kill again.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, so like again, I'll be ignorant when it comes to like what are we saying? Like everything is like meaningless, right? Like everything that the people want, they already have, I guess, right? A heart, courage. The wizard's really just a guy pretending. Dorothy didn't have to do any of this. She could have just went fucking home whenever she wanted. Like,
I think you're getting to the crux of why Bill doesn't like this movie.
But it's like,
what's the point? What is the point of any of this?
is it pro-America or like anti-America? Is it saying that everything is bullshit and everything is a lie?
In Australia, I guess. Oz. I mean, I'm assuming it was just an indictment of the Australian government.
Oh, I mean, it's a filthy prison colony.
I don't know if you want to. If you read it as like a response to Alice in Wonderland, like that was like a land where everything was nonsense, and she wanted to get back to a place that was rational.
Right, so the UK's rational. They embody the hardworking elements of the United States. It's like the rational elements of the UK, like whatever the government's best thing is.
But I've heard that.
And also Neverland, so aging is big in the UK.
See, I heard that Alice in Wonderland was like the author's problems with academia. Like everyone she meets double talks, and it's him making fun of academics. There's actually a really cool TV version that the BBC did in like the 60s where it's just like in a university, like, and everyone is dressed like an academic. It's a really, really interesting version of it. That's interesting. All right, so let's get more granular. Of the 3 If I Only songs, which is your favorite, mine is Tin Man because I like that it's a little slower. And I like that you've got like the voice of Snow White in there. I don't know, I like it. Also, I like Tin Man's whole vibe. He's chiller than the others.
Yeah, agreed. Tin Man was always my favorite. I dressed as a Tin Man for Halloween. I feel like a couple times. So yeah, his is my favorite too. His is like kind of, it's a little bit slower. It's sweeter.
Yeah.
It's, it's kind of played as like a romantic take on it because he wants a heart.
The choreography is also really
yeah,
good.
it's great.
Like he has to get his joints oiled while he's doing it.
And then when he's doing the...
Yeah,
he's
like
doing the Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Yes. I always had a problem as a kid. Maybe it's just like because I was just a weird kid with the fact that I always felt like the lion got the shaft because his If I Only was shortened.
Yeah, I was gonna say the lion doesn't have one.
But then he gets his own song later.
Yeah.
They make it up to him. Something I learned from the internet that I never noticed until the internet told me about it is when the lion takes his tail to wipe his tears, Judy Garland breaks. You see her like put her hand, you see her start to smile and laugh, and she puts her hand in front of her mouth. Because it is funny. Like, I don't know, you get something new every time you see it. And when I watched it today, I was like, this is actually a really funny movie. I don't know why I never like really caught that. But for, like, even like in the beginning when she's like, can we go meet the crown heads of Europe? And he's like, oh, do you know any? Oh, you mean of the thing. And, a lot of that stuff. Or even at the end when he gives the diploma to Scarecrow, he's like, how can I ever repay you? And he's like, you can't. And then he just moves on. Like, it's really, like, it's sharp dialogue. It's very funny.
Well, yeah, there's even that line that the Scarecrow has, like, some people without brains do an awful lot. Oh, no, it's not. That's the Wizard's line. Yeah. Some people without brains do an awful lot of talking.
No, the Scarecrow says
that. The Scarecrow says that, yeah. That's a funny line, too.
Yeah. Or when he's like, was I scared? I laugh in the face of danger. I was petrified. These are all things that James Franco does not have going for him. None of the charms. So did we all agree? What was yours?
For the If I Only?
Yeah.
I think Tin Man also. I think it's probably the strongest.
Yeah.
I felt that way Cheer Up Charlie about the Scarecrow song. I always feel like I always feel like it's like a lull for me, and I'm like, can we keep it moving, people, please?
And it was even longer at one point.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
I was
wow.
gonna.
Yeah.
When you
I
brought
always
up,
feel like it's very long.
when you brought up the jitterbug, I wanted to say, I think every cut was good.
Yeah.
The super long dance in the middle of it, I'm glad they cut it. The jitterbug was the only part of this timeless classic that felt like they were trying to tap into something popular at the time. And if it was still in there, we would look at it as like, because it's also like very modern. It's just like, It's very like
It's very of the time.
It's very of the time. It reminds me a little bit of a song I love, which is the Scuttlebutt from.
I have to go.
Oh, come on!
I'm gonna leave my own house.
Okay, I love the Scuttlebutt, but it's like that. It's just like this doesn't fit. So I'm glad they cut it.
Yeah, I think that the Jitterbug is for sure like it's the only. If it was left in, it'd be the only song that you would look back on and be like, or when you watch, you'd be like, "This is shoehorned in for no reason."
It also like when they cut it out, it goes right to them. He's got the gun to a pretty scary scene where the flying monkeys come and attack them all. It would be in the middle of there, and it would just be too long. You'd be like, "Let's get going."
So I wanted to bring that up, the scare factor, because you brought up earlier. It's got some scary parts. I remember when we were young and we watched it, like you being very afraid of the witch when you were very young.
Yeah, there was a weird time, like when I wasn't when I was a kid, but then I went from like a weird fearful time, and I don't know if that happens to all kids, because I even had a time where I was afraid of Skeletor after like having loved that movie so much as a little kid. So yeah, I did have a weird time, but she is scary. I mean, we've talked about this before. She tells her when this.
Yes.
I'm gonna come back and kill you.
I'm gonna kill you. When she pretends to be Aunt M.
Oh my god.
That is so fucking scary. She's psycho. She's psycho.
Where is she, by the way? What is she doing? She's just like outside the door, like, watch this.
She's psycho.
There. And the monkeys are just like, you're such a bitch.
She's psychologically torturing Dorothy. I mean, it's.
She's like, I really, you know what? I would do it now. But I really gotta go to the bathroom. She's just like,
Yo, and I caught a line today that I was like, fuck, that's dark. She was, what was it? How does she say it? It's so dark. The last to go will live to see the first three go before her.
whoa!
And the her says, I'm killing you last, Dorothy. What? You never see a kid's movie now where a villain is that murderous.
Yeah.
It's dark. And what about when she goes to when Dorothy's like, take the fucking shoes, I don't want them. Yeah. And then they shock her, and she's like, can I still get my dog back? She's like, no.
You know what a part I think I didn't pick up on as a kid? The surrender Dorothy part. First of all, I was a dumb kid, and it took me forever to realize that what she was saying was to her companions, surrender Dorothy. Yeah, I thought forever it was like surrender, Dorothy.
Right.
But also that when the people of the Emerald City look up and see that, they're like, oh, we don't fuck with this bitch, and they all like kind of like move away from her.
Yeah.
They're also very interested. They're like, let's ask the wizard. The wizard will know what to do. So again, I want to know what goes on in Emerald City in this version of Oz.
I have a question. Do we think that the guy who guards the door is the wizard?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they're all Frank Morgan.
No, I know it's the same actor.
Oh,
I'm
is it
saying,
him?
Is it him?
No, I
and
do
that's
think-
he's like the gatekeeper. Like, nobody can see him.
Yeah.
No way.
It also took me a
and
long
then he
time.
like takes off his mustache, like runs around the curtain.
It took me a long time to realize he's three characters in that. He's the guy at the door, then he's the guy doing the coach, which is different facial hair, and then he's the guy at the last door.
So did he come and like immediately have a lot of kids, and they're all just like running around Oz? With his face?
I guess in this version, like it's a one-man operation. Oz. There's no Madame Marble or whatever.
I want to touch briefly on like just how good the graphics are too, like the graphic elements. Like it not only looks beautiful, but like so much of it still looks like great. Like not like you laugh at it and be like, haha, look how old and shitty this looks. Like the horse of a different color still looks so cool. The witch's crystal ball looks great and looks real.
I think the bubble looks pretty good.
Yeah, it all looks good. And I guess I don't know much about this part, but like, did they spend $1 bajillion on this?
Yes. This was a huge production because they knew it was a huge book and they put a lot into it. But it's not. None of it looks. We already talked about the James Franco movie, so we were talking about how that has a lot of CGI and that doesn't look good. Oh, that looks fake in a bad way. I think there's a facadeness to it. There's a fakery to it that looks good, like something you'd see in Disney World or something. Yeah, I don't know. I think it all works for it. I think it does look of its time, but you also, because it's like magical and it could be a dream in this version, you kind of there's no part of you that wants to pick it apart. By the way, the horse of a color done by Powder, and I learned
Those horses all died.
and I learned this from a student who once wrote a paper on the Wizard of Oz, and I was like, "Thanks for teaching me something, student."
Also, I feel like the Twister looks really good.
Yes.
And also the vision she has through the window.
Yes, that's
during
really
the Twister
great.
are really good. And what a jump scare!
Yeah.
Quite a jump scare
change, yeah.
when the change from Miss Gulch to the Wicked Witch.
Oh, you brought her up. Can we talk about Elmira Gulch?
This is anti-Semitic.
Oh, okay.
No, I think
What
so.
you're about to say?
What? Yeah, I'm about to.
Was that a
prefacing
preamble?
it. Yeah. No, I think I was reading a lot about that she's clearly an anti-Semitic character. Like she
owns half the county.
She's rich.
Oh.
She's.
Does
I
this
mean,
mean we
Margaret
can't love
Hamilton
her?
just looked like her, like that. You know, like they didn't put a nose on her, but like they're supposed to give her like these exaggerated qualities that were happening at the time because of World War II. Like they saw a lot of propaganda that had to do with like anti-Jewish. And she's a good Christian woman, like against her.
yeah.
So that's like it's sort of like an anti-Semitic character.
That reminds me of when we talked about Wicked over the summer. Like, there's that reading of Wicked that, like, in the Broadway production of Wicked, she's coded as Jewish. Alphaba, and that in the movie, like, she is played by a black actress, but like the green skin is like coded for blackness.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that because I was also thinking like this shows up in Wicked, but I think it's because there's traces of it in The Wizard of Oz where like there's something about the flying monkeys that feels really racist too.
Yeah.
And the fact that she owns them and she's their
Also,
master.
the Winky Guards sort of have like a Cossack uniform, which is like Eastern European. It's sort of like that area of Europe. It's not, Western, Northern Europe. So there's this othering, like sort of the and we wouldn't even say racial groups now, but
she also owns a big castle.
Yeah.
Like other than the wizard, you don't see anyone else with that kind of like
property.
Yeah. And she also, I don't know if she put it in or someone else put it in for her. There's a sign that says "Witch's Castle this way."
So to go back to Elmira Gulch, boy does she hate dogs.
Yes.
And children.
But I love her every interaction with Uncle Henry, where she's like,
I think they fucked.
400th episode, everybody.
23 years? What's she holding on to?
Whoa.
Why is he so quiet?
Oh, he's got nothing to say. She knows what happened. Goddamn, I don't know. We can move on from that. No, Margaret Hamilton is incredible. I think I brought her up when we talked about actors who really went for it. Like, it's an incredible. Both are incredible performances, but also like as scary as it is, like she's clearly having so much fucking fun. Mm-hmm. She's loving it. She's loving both parts. She's loving being, and she was like a nice person, And she had like a little boy at the time, and like he came to the set and stuff.
Ugly little boy.
I've seen her on Sesame Street, and she's just so sweet.
Yeah. Or Mr. Rogers too.
Yeah. I've seen interviews of her where she said that like she was just like the biggest Wizard of Oz fan growing up. Like she was the original Ariana Grande. She was like, I'm so excited to play this part.
Yeah. So cute. And then there's the famous, who knows if it's apocryphal or not, but then there's the famous Hollywood story that she told a million times, where she'd be like, I wanted to be in Wizard of Oz so bad, so my agent called me, and he was like, they want you for Wizard of Oz, and she was like, great, what part? And he's like, what else? The witch.
What else?
Have you seen yourself? But she looks more like a crusty old pirate in the book. In the book, she's got like an eye patch. Right? Yeah. The book's very different. Yeah. The Winkies in the 39 movie also have green skin, which is really interesting because
it green? I thought it was like blue. They have the nose.
Yeah. So it codes it as like they're a race.
Yeah, she's a Winky herself.
Yeah. Unlike the Winkies in what's his name? There's the hot Winky. Right?
Wadling County?
Oh, whoa.
Her father was the mayor of Munchkin.
Figaro is like the prince of Winky Town.
Winky, right, he's from Winky Country, but he's hot.
Winky. Is he a Winky?
Oh, you think? Oh, I don't know.
Maybe it's very
In the
colonial.
book-
I have no
where they're
idea.
ruled by other people.
In the book, there's a munchkin named Bach, but it's not he doesn't become the Tin Man.
And Fierro has like blue skin or something. in the book.
Oh, really?
Or no, blue hair, right? Does he have a blue?
I think he has blue skin.
blue
and
hair.
blue
Okay.
hair.
Oh, blue skin.
The books, in the original, the earlier books, they kind of did away with it in the later books. They have skin color that matches like what area they're from.
Right. The Munchkins are all blue, and everything about them is
Yeah.
blue.
Like their skin is like it has blue hues in it.
Huh.
But anyway, in the 39 movie, it's like green is a race, and not a good one. Not one you want to be. Green and big nose, because they all do have the nose too.
Oh my god, do you think they were green because they came over on the boats and they were seasick? And they have like a green pallor? I'm serious. I don't know. I'm like trying to think. Like,
Well, it is a weird choice. Like, I don't know if this has ever been documented, like where that choice comes from, because it's
Yeah.
not from the illustrations of the books, just the idea of the witch being green.
So I've been to many witch museums in Salem.
We know.
I know. And there's one that says that her green skin was just a way for them to flex Technicolor.
I was gonna say,
Sure.
was it just a Technicolor thing? Because if
Yeah.
red shows up really good, then green probably shows up
Yeah.
really good.
And
Right.
I will say that the ruby slippers are so fucking gorgeous. What a great
Yeah,
change
yeah,
that
yeah.
was. Like,
And that's for Technicolor.
Yeah, that's
yeah, I'm excited for Wicked, like in the new Wicked trailer, like that cunty little walk that Dorothy does, but the silver shoes just don't hit like the ruby slippers do.
Yeah. I
they
mean,
look
yeah.
like candy, like a candied apple. Like they're so shiny and girl. I know, what a choice. I love it. And like they look so great. They're a great shoe. Like the style still works. Like I love the way they look.
And like as a totem of cinema, like it's the biggest, right? It's like the ruby slippers are like
They themselves have this legendary aura about them.
But
and
when-
like
but
I
if you
think
see
I've
them,
seen
they're
the
cheap as
original
fuck.
ones, right? But like, who knows if I've seen the original?
I think
ones?
there was multiple original ones.
Yeah,
but
I think so too.
The ones on the line for the Great Movie Ride.
Oh, the great movie ride! We didn't even talk about this.
We talked about this in the Return to Oz episode, but the ruby slippers were so like iconic that when Disney made Return to Oz, they like paid MGM to be able to use the
yeah.
ruby slippers in that movie.
Because it would confuse kids.
Yeah, the Great Movie Ride, the ending, there was oh god, it's so good. I remember being a kid, the first time ever being on the Great Movie Ride, and being like, I'm in the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. We haven't talked yet about its connection to the LGBTQ community. Obviously,
other than it making me gay.
other than making you gay.
Where does that come from?
But yeah, I'm interested when it comes to, because obviously Judy Garland herself as a performer is a big thing, but does that come after the Wizard of Oz? And also,
I think so. She married a number of gay men.
Yes.
She was an
but also
ally.
the Wizard of
so did
Oz is
Liza.
famous without it. It's not like it's only a gay thing. You know what I mean? Like Wizard of Oz is hugely popular beyond it, but it's also, I mean, it's like a shorthand, like
The pride flag.
Friend of
is-
Dorothy.
The pride flag
Yeah.
is a rainbow because of the Wizard of Oz.
Right, because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rainbow being the symbol is.
What I don't know. I've spent a lot of my life thinking about this, obviously.
Yeah.
Because the Wizard of Oz like was my thing as a kid, and obviously I'm gay, and I did dress as Dorothy when I was little. But like you grew up in the same house as I did. We both watched and liked the Wizard of Oz. But it was always more of my thing.
Yeah.
So it's like it's like a chicken and egg kind of thing. Like I don't know. Was I attracted to it because there was something in me that saw something that I can't even identify now? I mean, it's a musical, it's got Judy Garland, it's colorful, it's got like strong, powerful women in it, like it's got all the recipes, looks for days.
Gay men love divas, right?
Yeah,
So I mean,
yeah.
it's got Glinda, it's got the witch, it's got Dorothy. Like it's exactly. Looks for days. It's glamorous. It's beautiful. I think there's also like a really obvious sort of parallel of I feel like an outsider in this world. I want to go someplace where I'm understood. But she always wants to come back. She doesn't want to be there.
Right.
Those are the gays people. They're not her people. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It is. It's such a. It is such a thing, and I think there are so many ways you could explain it, but I don't think there's one definitive answer.
Yeah. It's a fascinating connection because there's no causality. Like
It's correlation.
it's correlation, not right. It's just it's just interesting. It's really interesting. Right, because you and I both loved it as kids and watched it as kids, but like you had toys of it and I didn't. And like you dressed up like Dorothy and I didn't. I dressed up like Bert Law, but not as the Cowardly Lion.
Just as Bert Law.
Just as him and his vaudeville. By the way, I love all the vaudevillians in Kansas, like being like Dorothy. Like none of them sound like they're from Kansas even a little bit.
I always get the sense that they were just, transients. Like they came in off the train
Oh.
and they would leave after the next season.
You think?
They're seasonal workers.
But they seem like
probably
such a staple of her
in
life.
their family, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Her falling in the pigs too. I was always like, "What's happening here? Get up!"
Right, yes. Why can't you stand there? She's like, oh, no.
get up. Or the incubator being broken, so a bunch of chicks are gonna die. What a weird beginning. But you know what's funny? It seems like their farm seems like a bigger enterprise in the film. In the book, they live in a shack that has 4 walls. It's one room. Both their beds are in the same room.
Oh.
The storm cellar's in the center of the room. And and the book gets into the gray, like the blades of grass are gray. Like the book is so melancholy. And it seems like from the book you get the idea that like they just farmed so they could eat.
Yeah, they look like dust farmers, really. Like, what do they do? Pigs, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're. It never struck me as like a big.
Like
farm.
what?
Like it's a little farm.
Did both her parents die of consumption? Like where?
I guess.
But they have a staff, at least in the movie.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, that is an interesting question that I've always kind of thought of. Like, why doesn't she have parents? Why is it? And it's never explained. Not in the books. Not in the movie. Like, I know that there's a thing in Disney.
There's a book though, because we were reading up on it for Oz the Great and Powerful, where they're named John and Ann Gale.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
So I guess it's a paternal side uncle that she's being raised by.
I guess it goes back to the Disney thing of like, there's something about like children that don't have their parents that makes them like rife to be main characters in these types of stories.
And it's not only Disney, it's so many fairy tales are just children's stories. I think it's because they have agency in those stories because they have to figure it out on their own, right? And like as a parent, we always do so much for our kids, like protect them from harms and other in the world.
But Dorothy's interesting because she has 2 parental figures.
Yeah, it's true.
They're just not her
practically
parents.
Yeah.
But I always liked how in Return to Oz, it seems like it's a chillier relationship. Like she seems to have a good relationship with Aunt Em, but Uncle Henry seems kind of like a distant, weird kind of booze hound. Do you think there's anything to the idea that Superman lands in Kansas?
Yes.
Okay, good. I was just wondering. It's something that always struck me. Like it's kind of like Oz backwards. It's like from a magical place that's green to Kansas, and she's the other way around.
Yeah. All right, I think. Yeah.
I think it's also just like going back to the like something just like oozing Americanness.
It's the
heartland.
Yeah.
It's smack in the middle of the country.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
And who's more American than someone from the Midwest, right?
Right. And
No one. The answer is no.
Superman. I mean, obviously, the original Superman, like he was. I mean, his colors are red, white, and blue. Like he was supposed to be like the personification of America as a superhero. Any, I guess I talked about this a little bit before with Somewhere Over the Rainbow, but
Her colors are red, white, and blue.
yeah, they are, especially with the Ruby Slippers. Are there any skips in the soundtrack, or now when you watch it, you're watching everything?
I'm watching everything. I still feel like move it along, Scarecrow. I've seen you spin already. But that's pretty much it for me. I love all the songs. And there's also, I mean, having seen Wicked,
The Witch could have used a song.
Wicked, I felt like there should have been more songs, or there could have been more songs.
Here's a weird thing that struck me today as I watched it. It has a great soundtrack, great themes, yet at one point when they're trying to break Dorothy out of the witch's castle, Night at Bald Mountain plays. Da na 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 da 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 da. Why?
In the Andrew Lloyd Webber stage musical adaptation of the 1939 movie, that is worked into the witch's theme.
Oh wow!
So it starts with dun dun dun, and then it goes into that.
That's really smart. That's smart. But still begs the question remains, why in a film that has so much great music is that used? Because it's almost like mimetic, right? It's like a meme. Like we think of that as like a certain kind of thing. Like it's in Fantasia, although Fantasia's later. It just struck me as weird and something. I had never noticed it until today, or never like consciously noticed it. I was like, why is this? Why is there a classical piece dropped into this movie in this one moment? Yeah.
I guess it's like an audience shorthand, sort of like how the Swan Lake stuff was used with Dracula. Like,
Yeah.
Like now you understand dramatically what's supposed to be happening. And I guess like maybe the composer's like, well, we're not going to improve on this, so we might as well just use it.
Yeah.
And it's probably free.
Yeah. Have you ever seen, this is something that I saw once and it still intrigues me. It was an interview. No, I think TCM was like doing a thing about Wizard of Oz, and they interviewed people, and they interviewed John Waters. And he had this thing where he was like, he talked about loving it, right? And he was like, the character I wanted to know more about was the lady with the cat at the end. Like, because when they're going, she's going she's going to leave and go back to Kansas in the balloon. But you see this beautiful woman with like a cat, and that's what triggers Toto to run after it. And then Dorothy leaves, and then the wizard gives her. And John Waters was like, I just want a whole movie about her. Who was she? She's so glamorous. I don't know. I love that, like, you could get so much out of this. Like, you imagine, like, John Waters watching Wizard of Oz. Like, it makes no sense given that his movies have, like, people raping each other with rosaries. But then, like, it also makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Because his movies are so colorful. And
Well, consider all the people it inspired. Like, is there a filmmaker it didn't inspire from, like, especially from that generation? Like, David Lynch is obsessed with Wizard of Oz.
Right, that's another big one. Like he made Wild at Heart, which had been a novel, but he added a whole thing that was not in it of, like, the mother's the Wicked Witch, and then Glinda comes at the end.
Yeah.
And Glinda's played by, what's her
girl from
name?
Twin Peaks.
Yeah,
right?
Laura Palmer from Twin Peaks. But, like, there's no irony to it. Like, he's like, I love it. Like, there's no like, haha, wink, wink to it. Which some people say that's all Lynch. Like, none of it's ironic.
Well, yeah, think of how many movies we wouldn't have if it weren't for The Wizard of Oz. Like, Barbie takes so much from The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are just so many. I mean, it was just such a staple of our culture. It's like the thing of, like,
I see so much of Zemeckis' filmmaking comes from Wizard of
Yeah.
Oz. Like the props telling the story, you know, like her feet instead of seeing her. Like,
Yeah.
I was just watching Back to the Future today, as I do every day. And just like watching Marty come into Doc's space, I was like, wow, this is sort of like as Dorothy is like coming through Oz. It's like we're watching his feet. We're just watching his sneakers.
Yeah, it's like, it reminds me of like when you study literature, right? Like, you're always on the lookout for like, what's a biblical allusion, what's a mythological allusion, what's a Shakespeare allusion. And I feel like in films, visually, it's like, where's the Wizard of Oz allusion?
Yeah.
Like, even like thinking about like even the latest version of A Star Is Born, where like Lady Gaga's singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow in the beginning. And Lady Gaga's another person who loves the Wizard of Oz, and it's worked its way into a lot of her stuff.
Yeah. It's why I thought it would be good to talk about it for the 400th episode, because it's sort of like, it's in the DNA of things. I mean, we talk about, like, on PCMC, we talk a lot about things like Star Wars, but I think Star Wars has a lot of Wizard of Oz in it. Like,
Absolutely.
Luke
He's
looking
a
at
farm
the
boy.
two. Yeah, he's a farm boy.
Yeah.
He wants adventure.
Yeah.
Everything sucks. He's raised by his aunt and uncle.
That's right. He's looking at two suns like a rainbow.
Right, which is like the Somewhere Over the Rainbow moment. Like, there's a lot of it.
Well, even, I mean, I don't know if this is true, but like, is Wizard of Oz the first time that like It Was All a Dream was used? Because that's been used a bajillion times since then.
I have no idea.
I'm sure it was a stage conceit. I'm sure it was like a something.
I guess maybe,
Yeah.
but I feel like that. I mean, how many episodes of TV shows end with like, oh, he wakes up at the end and the whole thing was a dream?
It just made me think of something though.
It was a
unrelated.
Jacob's Ladder situation.
It's a Jacob's Ladder situation. No. Do we ever see the rainbow in Technicolor?
I don't think we do.
I don't think we do.
No.
What a missed opportunity. We only see it in sepia, so that's crazy.
Wait, do we even see a rainbow? She sings Somewhere Over the
I
Rainbow.
thought you do see
You
it,
see,
but
you see like rays of sun coming.
light. Yeah, light. Okay.
Oh,
We were
okay.
sure because they couldn't represent a rainbow.
And you see Toto being like, do I put my paw out now? No, not yet. Not
He's
yet.
like,
Hold
literally,
it.
Oz looks
Hold it.
exactly the same
Hold it.
to me
Don't fuck this.
as Kansas did.
Don't
So I
fuck
don't know
this
why
up.
we're all freaking out.
Why are we all freaking out? It's all kind of grayish purple, right?
we all agree on that.
Did you ever see the meme of the dogs they're driving a car and they're like, yo, the light's gray, punch it?
Oh, silly dogs. Isn't there, Jen, you know about this, isn't there a autobiography
Yeah,
written
I have
by
it. I Toto.
Toto.
my
Yeah.
god.
What was the name of the real dog?
Terry.
Terry.
Yeah.
Harry.
Judy Garland tried to adopt her, and
Wait. Toto's a female?
yeah.
This is the end of the show.
What?
What?
Terrier named Munchkin, by the way.
Yes,
That's cute.
when we were kids, we had a terrier named Munchkin. Is Toto supposed to be a girl?
No.
I don't think
No.
so.
I've always read Toto as a boy.
Toto's a
Yeah.
I feel like she says boy at some
Yeah.
point. Calls him.
Oh, but they play maybe because you don't want a big weenie on the screen. But no, the Lassie often was a boy, and they could give it long hair so you didn't see the weenie. Huh.
So why couldn't she adopt?
No, I'm not done talking about dog dicks.
Okay.
No, go on. Why couldn't she adopt Terry?
I think just the owner was
The
like,
owner
"That's
was
my
like,
dog."
"I want this dog."
Yeah.
But who actually wrote I Toto?
You know.
The dog.
Right.
Yeah, Toto.
It makes no sense.
It's just gibberish.
It's just like
It's just ripped
scratching a
pages.
keyboard. Urine stains on it.
Who wrote I
Oh,
Toto?
Willard Carroll.
Willard Carroll.
This is what it looks like.
Yeah. Did you read
It
it?
looks like
Yeah,
like
yeah, I
an
read
ancient
it.
Hollywood story.
One time I had to pick an autobiography, and this is what I did.
That's incredible.
funny.
That's the best. Was Toto in other movies? Was Terry in other films?
You know, I don't remember. I think so.
Had to have been.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe the most famous dog in a movie?
Yeah.
For sure, right?
I know she broke her paw. Her paw. One of the Winkies stepped on her.
Motherfucker, I hope he
No,
was
my
fired
mistake.
on the spot.
My mistake.
Toto was in a Three Stooges short film.
Whoa, which one?
Back from the Front.
Oh.
Oh my. Are those my search terms?
You gotta clean up after that.
I want to watch it now just to see the range. See the range. Terry is Toto. Oh, Toto. Do you remember, Anthony? We had a Wizard of Oz CD-ROM game, and there was an "If I Only Had a Bone" song sung by Toto.
I do remember that. What a missed opportunity. That should have been in the film. I do remember that CD-ROM game. And I was thinking before, like, of all the Oz shit we had. Like, first of all, our mother really likes the Wizard of Oz.
She had the Franklin plates and
Yeah,
shit.
we had the plates. And then I think it's like she always liked it, and then because we liked it so much that then she got more into it. But we had so much stuff, and we also had so many versions of the Wizard of Oz. Like, I think about it now, like with my nephew is obsessed with Super Mario, so he'll always he wants to watch different iterations of Mario on YouTube. So he'll be like, play Christmas Mario, play this Mario, and I remember, like, as a kid being like, play cartoon Wizard of Oz, play the other Wizard of Oz, whatever. And we had, like, multiple different versions. And I would just, like, rotate through them because I just wanted more Wizard of Oz, but just, like, in a variety.
Yeah.
Who else loved the 1995 Oz in Concert, Dreams Do Come True, starring Jewel as Dorothy and Nathan Lane as the Cowardly Lion?
And Deborah...
That was 95?
95. I remember watching it live on
I remember
TV.
that.
My mom and I watching it together. I guess you were with us
Yeah.
too. But it was like a fundraiser, and I remember, like, in the commercials, it was like, you can order this box set, and my mom being like, "Do you want it?" And me being like, "I really, really want it." So I remember I had the box set. It came with the CD. It came with a book. It
awesome.
came with a VHS. And Deborah Winger played the Wicked Witch of the West.
She
Yeah.
came out of hiding.
She came out of
Wow.
hiding.
It was
Yeah.
like a Prairie Home Companion, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody
Yes.
had that book in
They
front
weren't
of them.
really acting.
Yeah.
Nathan Lane was the lion.
Love that.
Perfect
So,
line.
John
Yes.
Denver was the Scarecrow, I think.
May he rest.
I don't remember who
But
the Tin
was
Man
he alive?
Was it John Denver?
No.
Right, let
Wait, hold on.
me look it up.
I'm not sure, but no.
I'm getting confused. It was definitely Jewel and Deborah Winger and Nathan Lane. Who were the
I
other
definitely
two?
remember Nathan Lane for sure.
Guys, did anyone see that Leah Michelle animated Oz movie? Do you remember that?
Not one person saw that, no.
Not a single soul. Roger Daltrey was the Tin Man.
Whoa.
Oh, that actually makes sense because I thought it was Andy Dick. And I was like, what's he doing here?
Jackson Brown is the Scarecrow.
Okay.
Natalie Cole is Glinda.
Love
Joel
that.
Grey as the Wizard in Professor Marvel. Jewel is Dorothy. Nathan Lane is the Cowardly Lion. Lucy Arnaz as Aunt Em.
Hold on a second. Wait a tick. That means that Joel Grey was the wizard in that and the wizard in Wicked.
Wow, that's true.
Was he,
When did Wicked start?
was he in the Broadway production?
He was the original Wizard.
Wow.
2003.
Amazing.
Wow.
Well, that happens sometimes.
Guys,
Like the guy who played Jafar in the movie played Jafar on Broadway.
guys,
Yeah.
with the New York, can we just watch it right now, real quick?
Oh.
It's so fucking good. It's so good.
Jules' team took center stage.
You know, I always think it's funny when I see, like, this is 95, and then a year later Scream comes out, and I become obsessed with horror.
Yeah.
But I think of this as, like, I'm a baby when this comes out.
Yeah.
So it's so weird, like, time when you're a kid. Like, 1 year is, like, an
It was
eternity.
a tenth of your life.
Yeah, and yeah.
It's true.
Right.
It's true. They don't remember stuff from 2 years ago, like fully. And I'm like, oh, we did that. And they're like, oh, wow, okay, I'll take your word for it. Now she's playing the Maha ball. That's sad.
Yeah.
Sad.
The moment I remember most from it is a great thing Nathan Lane does when he goes to sing his If I Only. He steps into the stage light and he goes, I'm just going to tell you about it. And like, and it's just so perfect. He's so perfect for it. Has anyone seen Mid-Century Modern?
No.
It's Golden Girls, but with gay men playing the Golden Girls.
Why am I not watching?
I don't know. I don't know why you're not
It
watching.
takes a second.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
the
a
pilot's
wedding.
not hot.
It takes a second.
It gets funnier. All right, guys. I think we really did it. I love you all. Thank you so much. Now everyone gets awkward again because I'm sincere.
Oh.
No one likes sincere. Mike.
We had the power to reach 400 episodes inside us all along.
I was gonna say we should wrap up by what would you ask the wizard for?
Oh my god, that's just so much right now.
and ends capitalism.
Let's do something you personally like, on your body that's missing. My appendix back. I don't need it.
A third testicle.
I don't know.
This was your friend.
This is my. I know. I was like,
idea.
because I'm like, should I say like something deep, like,
No, you can say
I wish I
something
had
deep.
more patience,
Oh.
like something like that.
I wish I were more kind.
Okay, that's nice.
So you could ask the wizard for kindness.
Yeah. And what stupid thing would he give me? Like a teddy bear?
Right, that's a better question. What dumb thing would he give you?
Yeah.
That doesn't help you in any way.
I feel like for patience, he'd give me like an hourglass.
You're like, oh,
Yeah.
wait, yeah, oh, yeah. That's
And you're
a
like,
good
this is the
one.
same clock you give the Tin Man. You're just using the same shit over again.
He's only got a couple things.
He's got a couple things from the gift shop, the Oz gift shop.
We have a Wizard of Oz book that is, I don't know that it's based on the books or the movie. I think more the books. It's like just a little like bedtime story book. And they have the two witches instead of one for Glinda. So they have Witch of the North and Witch of the South.
Uh-huh.
And I always do a southern accent for Witch of the South. But for the wizard, I always do Kirk Van Houten from The Simpsons. Because at one point he flies away and he's like, I'm sorry, I'm not a very good wizard. Like when he
You
blows
saw
away
I had the
balloon.
money,
He's
right?
like- yeah, it's always Kirk though. Yeah, I don't know what he'd give
What would you ask, Jen?
Oh, me?
Yeah. Better lungs.
Yeah.
Oh my
Or like
goodness.
less anxiety.
Less anxiety.
Yeah.
Courage. You'd ask for
Sure,
courage.
yeah, courage.
And he'd give you a little metal and he'd
Yeah,
put it
yeah,
into your
sweet.
skin.
Yeah, I know. That's horrifying.
If you ask for better lungs, he'd give you like a snorkel or like a scuba
know.
And
thing.
you'd be
Like,
like,
here
what
you
the fuck am I gonna do
go.
with this? So how should we do this? Do we all say go Bobby at the same time? That could be chaotic. Do we say it one after another?
This mic will pick it up.
Okay, let's try it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Go bye-bye.